Defining Duke is brought to you by Manscaped. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion, right? I am a huge fan of the Lawnmower 4.0. I don't know how else to say it. I adore this thing. Manscaped offers everything for men's grooming, and they have me well taken care of. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DUKE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code DUKE. Join Cupid and shoot your arrow with Manscaped this Valentine's Day. Defining Duke is brought to you by Chromadex. Over 6 human clinical trials have demonstrated that daily supplementation with NR known as Niagen can safely and effectively elevate your NAD+ levels, giving each one of your hardworking cells exactly what they need to perform at its best. Since taking True Niagen, I feel at peace knowing it is researched by top scientific institutions in the world. Right now, new customers can save 20% on their first new purchase by going to trueniagen.com/Duke and use the code DUKE. That's TRUNIAGEN.com/Duke. Code DUKE to save 20% on your first purchase. TrueNiagen.com/Duke. Code DUKE. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here, and welcome to episode 56 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, we bring you finally the Avengers Xbox crossover that you've all been waiting for. Joining me is the first Avenger, none other than my co-host, Lord Cognito.
Yo, the Dukes and the Xbox 2. Finally!
Mm-hmm.
Finally. This is great. This is great, man. A lot of stuff going on. More stuff to talk about. I am excited, Maddie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well. We have a lot of the fallout from the Activision deal to sift through, some significant news stories, if I do say so myself, to go through, like a Gears of War collection. So we got a lot to dive into here, but of course we're joined by the two boys from Xbox 2. Let's start off with one half of them, Randall Thor. Rand, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. It's always a pleasure to be here with Lord Cognito and yourself, Maddie, in the realm of the Dukes. Excited for the crossover finally. Supposed to be last week, but plans fell through. But that's okay. We still have a ton of stuff to talk about this week.
Absolutely. And of course, would not be complete without Jez Corden also joining the show. Jez, dad of Xbox, how are you, my friend?
I'm all right now. It's hilarious because, like, this week has been so damn busy. I was expecting, because usually what happens is October, November, December are really busy. Black Friday, Christmas run up, all the games come out. And then usually January's kind of chill. And it's like, man, I'm finally going to have a little bit of a little break, a little downtime, maybe catch up on some older games. And then Microsoft goes and drops $70 billion. Yeah. And now it's the most insane January ever. So, like, even now, as we record this, I've just got a work message and multitasking and all sorts of stuff. And, man, my January is destroyed. Thanks, Microsoft. Can you have waited till March or something? You know?
I know. Hey, me and Ray were talking about it. I wouldn't have minded if they waited till then for ad revenue.
Honest. Those ad rates, got to be a little bit higher.
Yeah,
listen, man.
January, they're killing us out here. They're like, we're gonna get you like 2 million views this month, but what? Like, fuck your ad rates. Like, you're not paying us. It's terrible.
Not getting content.
Anyway, welcome all to a very special show that I know a lot of you have been excited for. As Rand said, we were trying to organize this last week. It didn't come through. So we're doing it this week with arguably more to talk about on top of just the initial reactions to the deal. There's much more to sift through as information is starting to clear up and the dust is settling here. Of course, as always, for those who are new patrons, we had a lot of write-ins from them. Thank you for joining up. We're over on patreon.com/laststandmedia where you can get early access to this show every Thursday. Free episodes go out on Sundays on all other platforms, YouTube, audio, all that stuff. Also, if you're a patron, you get access to our supplemental show, Defining Duke Ultimate. We just dropped an episode talking about NFTs, where, Jez and all of our Januaries got ruined. NFTs will ruin the rest of our year. So we invited a viewer, a listener of our show, Robert, who is pro NFT to some extent, to really just pick his mind and talk to someone who actually likes the idea of NFTs and the potential and the future of them. So it was a really fascinating conversation that's available as just shakes his head. It was a fascinating conversation. Thank you, Robert, for participating. And for those who want to give a good listen on that, it's available now on the Patreon. We also just had our interview with Graham Smith, who is a co-founder at Drinkbox Studios. That went live for free this week on our YouTube channel. We also dropped for free our episode with Colin talking about Tencent. So a lot of Duke content coming out right now, just the right time. Since a lot of you are tuning in, we had our highest viewed episode in about a year, Cog. We're doing well here. The realm of the Dukes is stronger than ever.
Bro, I've been liking the content, man. It's been real fun. A lot of different perspectives, different things, good topics. And you know the one I'm waiting for. I'm going to keep spoiling it. That Xbox One retrospective.
We have to do that soon because you keep
I'm ready. It's just that we've got so much content in the, in the cut. So it's like, I can't wait, but we will do it.
Xbox One.
An Xbox One retrospective. I mean, what is that? 10 minutes long? All you gotta do is say it sucked and then move on.
Brand, it's a fascinating generation.
I mean, sure. I guess if you want to study how to kill a brand and sure, you could study it. Well, it's like I said on Xbox 2. The Xbox One generation was when Xbox died, but then like a phoenix rose from the ashes in a different form, right?
No, absolutely. Before we begin, got some follow-ups from the audience. We also got some quick news I wanted to beat through here before we get into the main news. First thing, limited run games. They're bringing out Xbox games finally starting this summer. They have not announced what that game will be. There's a lot of games on my list, like The Ascent, Death's Door, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe Psychonauts 2, which would be kind of weird because it's an Xbox first-party game now. But anyway, Limited Run is finally joining Xbox in a physical games push. Typically, it was only Nintendo with the Switch, as well as PlayStation with the 4 and 5. But now Limited Run's getting involved with Xbox after a long while. So this was super overdue, and I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, big time, big time. Need that physical.
We also got Dark Souls 3 with a PC hack. So there is a hack right now. If you were playing Dark Souls 3 on your PC, uninstall it. Because right now, hackers could take control of your entire computer, brick your PC, steal your data, everything. And it's happening through this game. I believe they've shut down the servers now and are working on this. Who knows when a fix will come in. But this is just something I wanted to make sure that the PC side of our audience was aware of, that Dark Souls 3 is more dangerous than ever now. So keep an eye out on that one. Next, Focus Home Entertainment. Their revenue dipped 18% from 103.6 million euros to 85.1 million euros. This is worth keeping an eye on, in my opinion, because they're publishing Plague Tale Requiem, and they blame their underperformance on Hood Outlaws and Legends, as well as Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground. They also lost the farming simulator license, which definitely hurt their income. So this is a company that people should really keep their eyes on outside of their interactions with Xbox, just because they're, in my opinion, the best AA publisher the industry has right now. And we definitely want them to succeed because they're the ones who kind of push the boundaries of what the line between AA and AAA is. So I feel like they really need to succeed and be active in our industry.
Focus Home.
Yeah. We also got Wizarding World confirming that Hogwarts Legacy is on for 2022 for anyone who cares about that game. Anyone excited for this game?
Not really. I would have to see more of what the game actually is before I get excited for it.
Harry Potter, nah. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Jazz, you not a Potter guy?
No. No. It's no. Too old, maybe.
None of us are. No, not the Dukes or the Xbox.
Dude, I'm surrounded.
I mean, I like Harry Potter. I've read all the books. I've played some of the games during my 360 days. When I played pretty much everything. So I guess it depends on what the game actually is. But I know it's liking Harry Potter these days is very much not something you want to put out there because of all the stuff with J.K. Rowling and whatnot. So
I'm surrounded by people who love Harry Potter, so it's like inescapable for me. Like everyone always wants to watch the movies, play the games. Hogwarts Legacy is like a huge thing with my group of friends. So just wanted to put that out there for everyone who's like the people who surround me. Speaking of stuff from way back when, following three remasters of the first games, Crytek has confirmed Crysis 4 is in development, and also more is on the way for Hunt Showdown, which I don't know about you guys. I didn't know about the latter. I did not know that Crytek was working on Hunt Showdown at all. But yeah, they are doing a new Crysis game, and I don't know how to feel about that. It feels like that the time for that game has come and gone.
Well, there's a reason why they remastered Crysis 1, 2, and 3, right? And
yeah.
This is another win for the GeoForce NVIDIA leak, because it was on there.
Yes.
That's a good point. I didn't know that.
Yep, it definitely was.
There we go. All right, I want to get you guys' input on this one for sure. The Rock has said, quote, "We're bringing one of the biggest, most badass games to the screen, one that I've played for years," end quote. And this was asked when he was talking about his relationship with Microsoft. And we know that The Rock was there for the unveiling of the original Xbox. Some speculation has started to pick up. Is this Gears? Do we see The Rock getting like Stone Cold Steve Austin on the big screen and doing like a beer drinking Dom Phoenix duo here? Do we see something like that?
What do we think?
It's clearly Blinks. It clearly Blinks the cat, right? I don't know.
I love that.
It's interesting to think about. Like, wasn't there a rumor of Gears of War because of Batista being all like, "We should do Gears of War"? I would be.
Oh yeah, wait, the wrestling duo is actually real here. I was joking, but yo, Batista and The Rock, this could actually work. I'd be for it.
Yeah, man. I think Gears is one of the franchises that would translate very easily to TV because there's a lot of gray space, or whatever they call it, where there's a lot of aspects of the universe that aren't really explained in Gears. Like, what the hell is this planet? We still don't really know. Like, there's just so much about the Gears universe we don't really know.
I do agree.
You know, humans versus monsters. It's a tale as old as time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they should do it. I'm for that. I know Rand would disagree because
hey, I mean, I am a stan of The Rock from my days when I used to watch WWE back in high school. He's the man, and I'd be super excited. I mean, are we sure it's Gears? What if it's Minecraft coming to? He's playing the main character.
Well, he's done kid stuff before, right? He did Moana.
Yeah.
He's very good in that. Well, what would The Rock play? I mean, an iron golem or something?
Well, I guess it also could be maybe like God of War or something. I could easily see him being Kratos.
He actually would be a great Kratos. That would fit pretty well.
Yeah. He's got the tattoos and shit, right?
Right, yeah. He's bald. That's perfect.
Yeah, bald, tattoos. That's all you need to play Kratos, really.
That's really all you need.
Say boy a bunch of times. Good to go.
Last bit of cleanup work here. Steam Deck is launching February 25th, 2022. Review units are going out shortly, apparently, as well. Valve posted, and that will be out around launch date as well. They said that when you put your pre-order in, your reservation is there, and that they're going to contact you. You'll have 72 hours, so keep an eye on your email. If you have pre-ordered your Steam Deck, make sure your reservation is set for the first quarter of the year. Mine is in Q2, because they say that if you let your pre-order go, they will let someone else next in line get in there. So if you all in mass want to just let your pre-orders go so I can slide into Q1, that'd be sick. But otherwise, Steam Deck launching February 25th. For me, it's probably sometime in like April or June. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm waiting. Mm-hmm. And I'm Q2, unfortunately, so I gotta,
Who are the people in Q1, right? Like, I haven't seen anyone on my timeline going like, yo, I'm Q1, bro. Like,
hopefully they forget. We get bumped up.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm hoping for. Just a mass, like, oh, I reserved this thing, right.
Hopefully it went to all your spam.
It's probably just influencers and YouTubers. And then, like, they influencers and YouTubers get it, and they're like, oh, you should buy this. And then no one can buy it because there's no chips. So.
All right. Now let's talk with the audience a little bit here. Trent Miller writes in, hey, big double Ds. My father likes to make onion sandwiches. He takes 2 pieces of toast, butter, cheese, and a big slice of onion and calls it a sandwich. My question is, should it be legal or if my father needs to be locked up. Your help in this matter is greatly appreciated. Thanks, and have a my dog ate my homework kind of day. What do we do with Trent's dad? What do we do with Trent's dad here? 2 pieces of toast, butter, cheese, and a big slice of onion, and he calls it a sandwich.
Dude, that's a standard British snack. Cheese and onion on toast. That's a standard British snack. So maybe his dad's got British DNA. I don't know.
It's possible.
Cheese and onion on toast. Seriously, look at it. Grilled cheese and onion on toast.
I feel so bad for the people in the UK. Like,
it's good.
Onion sandwich.
It's good.
I don't doubt that.
I'm craving it right now. I haven't had it since I was a little kid, actually. But I used to go to my nan's house. So now we're calling
Trent's dad immature too. Is that the vibe I'm getting here? Like, we got a man baby in the house.
Maybe. But I used to go with my grandparents, and they'd be like, "Yeah, is it cheese and onion on toast under the grill? It's really good, man. Try it."
Jazz.
What is it? Just a slice of Is it like
onion? Just bits of onion, sliced onion.
You see what I got to deal with every single week?
Oh man!
You know that episode of SpongeBob where he walks in, his hands are out like this, he opens his mouth, and you see like the green gas come out of his mouth. Like, that's what I'm thinking with Trent's dad, with Jez when he was a kid, eating that onion sandwich.
Oh.
Like,
man, I don't even know what to say with this one, Jez. I mean, but the fact that you said it's British tradition is kind of scary to me. Like, that this is really custom. Like, people really dig this. Like,
you can buy like a popular flavor of like chips. You know, we call them crisps. You call them chips.
When he does the American accent, he be killing me with that. You know what you guys call it?
Yeah. We have cheese and onion crisps too. Like, wow. It's a flavor. It's a popular combo. I don't know if it's because of pub culture or something. People like to eat onion. Like, and also in British pubs, you can often just there'll often just be jars of pickled onions on the side.
Really?
And you have a beer, and then you have a raw pickled onion. Just right at the jar.
Oh God,
sounds disgusting.
That's barbaric. Yeah, that's barbaric, man. This is barbaric.
That's just a British thing. Pickled onions and beer.
Uncultured swine.
I'm down with. Jazz. I got fam over there. I'm down with the fish and chips. I'm down with the scones. You know,
scones are great.
Scones are amazing. Like, I love the scones, but this onion stuff, we gotta have a meeting about this.
Oh man!
Now, what I need to know is
we were talking about pineapple on pizza in the last podcast I did.
Oh no!
I've become the weird food combo guy. How did this happen?
I am.
Was asking me.
Well, I would say pioneering all over your Twitter account, shrimp and mayo probably was the start of it. That'd be my guess.
I do love shrimp and mayo.
Trent, what we need you to do is follow up and confirm if your dad is from the US or the UK. That'll be very telling here. Thanks to the insight from Jazz. Matthew Novak has something to say to Cog. Hey, Dukes. I realized during episode 55 that Cog's defining Duke Oval is faced like a normal controller rather than on its side like the show's logo. As a Last Stand patron, I think it's important to point out irrelevant information about the host that has no relation to the show's topics. You should see what the sacred guys have to deal with. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Love the show, and all you two do. Cog, any explanation for this? Because as you can see, I kind of got the same thing. You never said anything about me. Last episode, I was just laying flat on a record player.
Listen, man. Actually, it's funny. Isn't he talking about the overall position of the logo? Because, like, technically, isn't it supposed to face?
Yeah, it's supposed to be to the side.
Yeah, because it's funny because Colin hit us up and was like, there was an error with the stuff we said. Do you like it that way? And I'm like, yo, I don't mind it. Because to me, it kind of resembles like the Xbox controller, layout. So I'm cool with it. But that's funny that he observed that. Like, this little distinct thing. It's kind of funny.
Anyway, just a little bit of a touching up with our audience there. Catching up, not touching up. God almighty, that'd be horrible. All right, let's talk about what games we're playing here. Look, normally I like to give the guests the honor, but I just got to bum rush my man here. I got to get to him. Cog, what have you been playing? Let the audience know.
So at first I was playing Rainbow Six Siege Extraction.
I saw.
I was playing that, and it's cool. I was expecting it to be worse. I don't know. Maybe I was just like really gonna think it was gonna be like completely soulless, but they had a couple of the Rainbow Six Siege operators that I really like, and Medic and Doc. So we did a couple of the missions. Some of the unique things that they've added from the game with special abilities that I thought was really cool. I still don't know how I feel about the gunplay. I don't know how I feel about it. It doesn't feel like visceral enough when I'm shooting the monsters, I feel. But overall, it was solid.
Yeah.
And then there's this other game.
Oh, yeah, there is.
This game, my co-host, Ren, this man has been talking up this game only because I said, oh, this little Ace Attorney game looks kind of cool. How dare you, Carl? How dare you? Don't you dare put Ace Attorney in the same category as Danganronpa. And I'm like, what the hell is Danganronpa? I don't know what this is. He's like, this is You've Got I don't even want to hear anything from you until you play. So I'm like, good. I had to play that. Ain't never coming to Game Pass.
Never coming to
whatever.
Xbox.
I'm like, yeah, I'll get to you, Maddie, whatever. That joint showed up in Game Pass episode. I was so disgusted. So I threw it up. All right. I ain't going front, Maddie.
Speak from the heart, Cog.
I wanted to strangle him the first 10 minutes.
So you felt like I felt when Jez made me play Pokemon. I wanted to kill him.
I'm like, what is this anime? Like, it was just, I'm an average guy in an average world, and everything's average. And, like, I have an average hoodie, an average life, and I'm going to an average, but I'm going to this great high school. So it was just all this pontification, and I'm like, oh, what has he got? And mad text. But they do have voice. They do have some voice. It's not like a Banner Saga situation. They do have voice. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting through, but I ain't go front. After I finished the epilogue and I got to the chapter, and I'm not going to spoil it because one of the funniest things for me happened, and this joint turned into Squid Game. I said, oh, they out here murdering. I was like, oh, I like it now. I said, I like it that now I'm in. I want to get my investors. So basically, I don't want to spoil too much because I want to give people a chance to play it. But I got to get them. They were doing Squid Game before Squid Game.
That's why I tell people all the time when I saw Squid Game come around, Squid Game's good. I don't disrespect it at all. But to me, it didn't blow my socks off because I'm like, I play Danganronpa, and it sounds like I'm flexing. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true.
I can understand why you love, because think about before Squid Game exists, as a younger Maddie playing this, and like, you think it's just some cutesy little bear, ha ha ha. No, murder is going down. I'm like, oh, this is it. I go first. So yes, I get it. I'm gonna continue it. It's not as bad as but you were almost uninstalled. Like, it was so close. But I remember you told me, you said, just get through the epilogue, do the first chapter, Cog, I'm telling you, then judge it. And then once I said, okay, it's heating up.
I appreciate the trust on that because I feel like initially, I think they were making something different because that opening, I'm just like, what are you guys doing? And then you just get in there, you get knocked out. And it's like, okay, this is completely different now. This is a totally different game.
Oh, they got to fix them controls. I know it's old, but them controls with the just like looking around, trying to do the investigative stuff, just a little. I mean, but it's older, so I can't go too hard on it. But no, it's good.
Still fair,
I do like it.
They've re-released it enough times to probably fix it, so I think that's fair.
But that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. I love to hear it. All right, now we get to our guests. Let's start off with you, Ren. You're next on the list here. So you've been playing a certain game. I don't know how deep you can get into.
I can't really say much about it. So I started up Dying Light 2 last night for a little bit. So can't really say much. I will say really quickly, I did play the Anacrusis.
Oh no!
Which kicked game preview and Xbox Game Pass a couple weeks ago. My group of 4 was like, let's play this. We played Back 4 Blood. We enjoy some of that 4-player co-op stuff, right? Well, we all decided within 10 minutes of playing it to uninstall it. So, that should tell you all you need to know.
Treatment.
I feel you, bro. It didn't look too good when it previewed to me, and I was hoping to get better. So it didn't even improve at all, Rand. Just like,
no, it's like the 70s vibe. It's like Alien, Left 4 Dead, but like it's awful. At least in the current state. I don't know how it will be when they fix it or if they fix it at all. But right now, it's like, no wonder it's in Game Pass. It's bad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the visual style actually looked kind of cool. All right, Jez, let's kick it to you. You're playing a plethora of games here. I know one of which you share with Rand here, but let's get into it because I know one has been all over your Twitter feed. Let's talk about it.
I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls. It took me 10 years to get into this game. I got it when it originally came out, and I was like, what the hell is this game? It's super hard and unfair, and I hate it. And then like over the years, I was like, I came back and tried it again because like I saw it was blowing up, and I was like, I still hate it. It's unfair, and I don't get it. It's stupid. And then like I got into Monster Hunter, which I think eases you in a bit more gently than Dark Souls does. And funnily enough, Monster Hunter teaches you a lot of the fundamentals of Dark Souls' combat system, like iframes and stamina management and all that stuff. So this time when I came back to Dark Souls, I was just like, oh, it's Monster Hunter, basically. And now I love it. And I'm just coming in onto this train a decade late. But it's awesome because now I've got like tons of games I'm really looking forward to play, as if they were brand new. Like I'm just coming to the last boss of Dark Souls Remastered, and then I got Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and all these other games that like I get now that I just didn't get. It was like this gaming blind spot for me for so long. And I'm really excited to get into it now. And I got Elden Ring to look forward to.
I was going to say, do you plan to pause Dark Souls around Elden Ring, get into that, and then go back to Souls? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think so. I'll play Elden Ring because like my brother's going to play it, and he's the only person who'll play any games with me because I can force him to do it. I'm the older brother, so you have to play this game with me. So yeah, I'll play Elden Ring, and then I'll go back to the Souls games, I think. But I've also been playing like some of the indie Souls games, like or like the Souls-ish games, like Tales of Iron, which is like a side-scrolling game narrated by Geralt of Rivia, which is so random.
Yeah. That game looked awesome.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's like you play as a mouse. It's like a Souls-like Metroidvania where you play as a mouse, and it's really brutally violent and hilarious. Ooh. There's also Blasphemous, which is like a pixel-style Metroidvania Souls-like. I also started playing Hollow Knight on cloud, which is really, really good.
Hollow Knight is amazing. I love Hollow Knight.
I've been really enjoying Hollow Knight as well, and it plays really well on cloud because of the fixed camera perspective. I don't know if cloud's just better in Germany or something, but like it's basically the latency doesn't exist where I live. There's no latency. It's like playing natively. There's no artifacts. It's instant movement on the sticks and everything. And then when I go back to England, where like I have a gigabyte down in England, and it's not as good as my 100 megabyte down in Germany. I'm like, what the hell? It's so weird.
It's got to be proximity to a data center. It's got to be. Yeah.
I think it's also network congestion because I live in a city in England, and here I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's probably like just a straight line to the data center with no congestion or anything. But honestly, I could actually like just use cloud exclusively where I live right now in Germany.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's that good. I'm going to make a video about that actually to show it off because it's gotten really good where I live.
I had a quick question in reference to that before you go on to the next thing. Just have you tried like the very fast twitchy stuff like an FPS, like a Halo or a like a fight? I'm just curious if that also translates as well with your situation in Germany.
I haven't tried a 3D game yet. The algorithm seems to work really well with fixed cameras perspective games because it doesn't have to constantly update the image. I think it sort of like just adds the pixels that's coming in from the side of the camera or whatever. You can sort of see it in action when it's doing this sometimes. So like Hades and Hollow Knight and stuff like that, and Diablo even, which have like fixed camera perspective, they work really well. Historically, the 3D games not so much because every time you move even slightly, the whole image has to update because it's 3D. But yeah, I'm gonna do some new tests on xCloud because it seems to have gotten really good lately. But I mean that's pretty much all I've been playing. I've been playing Dying Light 2 as well, and we can't talk about it very much, but I will say that I'm having a blast.
Nice.
Defining Duke is brought to you by Manscaped. Roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let a wild pube just wreck you. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and our sponsors at Manscaped are here for you with the best tools to get your balls ready for the special occasion, right? This Valentine's Day, it's time to join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. With our exclusive offer, go to manscaped.com and use the code DUKE for 20% off and free shipping. I am a huge fan of the Lawnmower 4.0. I don't know how else to say it. I adore this thing, which uses skin-safe technology to put the days of awful shower nicks in the past. to the crop reviver, which is used in a pinch when you have some stench downstairs and you need to quickly take care of that, to the body wash, so on and so forth. Manscaped offers everything for men's grooming, and they have me well taken care of. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Duke at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code Duke. Join Cupid and shoot your arrow with Manscaped this Valentine's Day. Yeah, same here. I'll just get mine out of the way. Dying Light 2, been playing it as well. Just like Joe said, been having a really good time. I'm excited to talk more about that later on when the embargo lifts. The game I can talk extensively about, this is also available on Game Pass, by the way, is Superliminal. So I stayed over at my girlfriend's house Sunday night and got her the series as the little man. And she's a big Game Pass advocate now, Cog. We got her. She was Team PlayStation, but Game Pass has broken her down because like she loves games, but she didn't love it enough like we did, where it's like, I'm forking out 60, 70 every month. Like, I want those new games. Like, for her, she's like, it's just too expensive for me. But with Game Pass, it's a more digestible hobby for her. And she loves to see like the catalog update and everything. And now she's tracking it all. Like, she's all in on the system. So we're tabbing through. I recommended this a couple of shows ago. I'm going to recommend it again. If you're overwhelmed by Game Pass, go through the whole library, hit X on games that you're interested in, add them to your play later, so then you can go to that list whenever you're looking for something to play and not just through the whole Game Pass library again. So we go to our play later list. We find this game called Superliminal. It's a 3-ish hour indie game that is a game about perspective in both its story and its gameplay. So what you'll do is, for example, you'll take a little toy house that'll be the size of like this bottle cap. You'll look up and suddenly it looks a little bigger, and you'll drop it. And when it comes down, the house is now big enough for you to walk into, and that house will lead somewhere else. So it's a puzzle game, but let me stop right there for a sec. I don't like puzzle games. All right. Like, I'm not for them. I find them frustrating because they're so indirect at times, and I get they're difficult to make. Which is why I commend games like, I think of Jedi Fallen Order. It did puzzles really well. Tomb Raider, I think, did puzzles really well. This is a game this is the best puzzle haters puzzle game, because the way you interact with the environment, it's not like, oh, I got to take the blue orb and click it in the diagonal shape, like all this bullshit. Like, you don't need to worry about that. It's about, how can I scale objects up and down, get them to click together, and use my head to get to new heights. It's effectively just scaling up and down, like big and small. So you walk through doorways, you'll come out small. So it's like, okay, I need to get through that tiny keyhole there. How do I get through that where I have to be this small and get up there? And then you start to interact with the environment. You'll use like cheese wedges that are on the table and turn them into big ramps. And it's this game that, again, is very enjoyable on a gameplay front because you're just manipulating the environment around you constantly. And there's no one trick way to get through. It's just a very flexible gameplay system, which is why I think for puzzle haters, it's not like just one solution. There's tons. So you can figure it out in your own way, which feels good. But it's also, as the story develops, this is a 3-hour game, so I'm not going to say too much on it. You realize that perspective is not just a theme in its gameplay. It's about its story too. And they dive into that a little bit. And it's one that I think I'll remember for a while. This game came out in 2019. And it's a game that I think perfectly represents why indies want to go to Game Pass, because I don't think I would have ever seen it or tried it without it. But it was a great time. We one-tapped it. We played it all the way through 3 hours, and we were done. And it was a great time. So I highly recommend those who are looking for like a quick weekend game, even like one night, you just want to beat something, get that satisfaction. Try out Superliminal. It's a really good time and not frustrating, really. There was like one puzzle we got stuck on for 15 minutes, and we were kind of getting annoyed. And that's good perspective, pardon the pun, to realize like how not annoying this puzzle game is. That usually when I get stuck on a puzzle, you're there for an hour, like, fuck, right? So that's what's great about this, is 15 minutes was considered annoying. Really good game though. Highly recommend people download it.
Nice.
Right. So that's what we're all playing. Let's get into some warm-up questions, and then we'll hit up the news, starting off with Sean Carr. Hey, Dukes. I've recently bought a house and signed away my life to a bank. Yay! Since then, however, time is of the essence, and I'm left with not much time to spare. After cooking food, doing house chores, and spending time with my significant other, there aren't any hours left in the day to play games or go to the gym. Even me asking this question, sorry, the way I copy and paste it came out wrong, has took me 3 weeks to get around to. Likewise, when I do have a spare minute to play games, I don't want to get stuck into something meaty, which has left my last completed game being the gunk. How do you manage your spare time to play games or your hobbies when life is so busy? Hope you have a paying full price just for it to go on sale kind of day. I wanted to respect Sean's time here. I put him at the front of the list in case he was listening because he's a busy man, to give him some life advice here, right? So, gents, whoever would like to step up first if they got anything to say to Sean on how he can balance his life and his gaming time.
I'll say I'm the wrong. You want to go first, Jez?
Rand, I was literally going to say the same thing. I am the wrong guy to ask.
I'm the wrong person to ask this because my life is pretty not what's the word I want to look here for, Jez? What am I trying to think of the right word? It's not I have all the time in the world, essentially.
Okay.
So
like I was trying to, at first I was thinking like, I can't really answer this question because I play games for work. I'm playing Dying Light 2 for work right now. So like my work time is my game time. So I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll think back to when I did have a normal job, a 9 to 5. And then I thought, well, the way that I was able to play games then was by having no social life, no responsibilities, no significant other, no kids, no friends. Just, I'm a guy. I got 10,000 hours played in World of Warcraft. You know, I am not the guy to ask this time management question. I'm not good at it. And even now, I sleep like a few hours a day while I try and like fit in gaming here and there. So I'm not a good person to ask.
Cog
either.
I'll have to dish it to you then.
Yeah, it is for me. It's hard, man. It's hard. You know, for me, it's just so many different hats, right? So just the 9 to 5 now, back into it. You know, multiple podcasting, website running. You know, and right now the battle is the gym versus blazing games all day.
Yes.
The gym was like, yo, you need to do something. I'm like, damn, I'm having so much fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to stop. So it's just that's the internal push-pull, right? So my new trick now, it's funny you ask this because this is kind of what I'm going through the last 2 weeks since I started a new gig. So what I've been doing now is like, okay, new thing, which I hate, is gym in the morning. I'm not a get up in the morning. I'm not an early bird. Rand knows.
Yes.
Rand knows. Me and Rand will talk at obscene hours of the night where we both should not be awake.
Nope. Yep.
Because we're natural nocturnal creatures. We're creatures of the night.
I think all 4 of us are.
Yeah, like Maddie, same thing. Like, you'll send me a message. I'm like,
we were talking last night at like 3 a.m. or something.
About it. Like, I have no business being up. But I'm like, because sometimes as a creative, I feel some of my better ideas are really late. And Maddie, me and you've talked about this, right? So it's like, so now that I have to ditch that life and become a filthy day walker. No, I know I'm a 9 to 5 punch clock kind of guy. My new thing now is gym. As soon as I get up, even though I hate it, I'm energized for the rest of the day at work. And then I can still game and do stuff after either podcasting or work or whatever. So that's the new trick. I just got to stick with it. And it's tough, but that's how I got to do, man. Otherwise, you go crazy. What about you, man? You another one, Mr. Big Time Content Creator, AM radio,
YouTube superstar.
Okay,
everything going for him. How do you do it, man?
Wow. The way I look at it is something somewhere along the way loses out. It's about what you care least about in that moment in time. So, like for me, if I were to split up like priorities, right, it's like my job, which is content creation, you know, the podcast. I want to make sure I'm tracking news for that as well. It's why I had to drop Ham Radio podcast because I was just overworking myself too much. But beyond that, like family, girlfriend, friends, sports. I like to watch anime, manga, keeping up with the latest Star Wars and Marvel stuff, reading, all this stuff. Exercise, like I almost forgot that one of my biggest priorities. So, I'm working on a game. Retro rebound.
Oh, by the way,
yeah, I'm just saying, like,
does games fall under like content creation for you? Because it's like you make content about games, so is that kind of like the same thing?
It's
for
tough
you?
Because like I do news, so most of the time when I'm playing in my own free time, unless it's a review, doesn't really relate to the content that is on screen. Like I'm just talking day to day about what's in the news. So. Honestly, yes and no. Like I'd say for Retro Rebound, it matters more because Retro Rebound, I'll like be talking about Pokemon Stadium 24 years later, and that'll be a video on the channel. And it's like, I was playing that recently. So that there's more of a correlation there. So for me, I guess you could say like there's kind of a separation between the job and the hobby, unless reviews and previews start to crop up, which it's hard to tell when those will really happen, because sometimes copies like Dying Light 2 come weeks early, and sometimes they come a week early, and then previews will be like 4 months ahead of launch, or 2 or 1. You never can really nail it down. So it's about being agile. So like right now I'm in a groove with reading manga, playing games, prioritizing, the essentials effectively, like girlfriend, family, all that stuff, and exercise. And that means that like shows, anime, that stuff's falling to the wayside. But then, as work with the game picks up, it's like, okay, now we're going to put manga to the side. It's like, okay, we're going to work on XYZ for the game. I need to be more involved with this, because I'm more so like directing the creation and doing writing. So my pace is a little bit different compared to the rest of the team. But like that, it's just kind of, to me, it's like, what toys are you going to pick up and play with today? Which is exciting, but it can be overwhelming. So I recommend a planner, Sean. I recommend a planner. And if there's any one baseline rule I would recommend following, it's get everything done before the evening. So then your evening time, like post dinner, I like to say, when I usually eat dinner at like 5:36. So post dinner is your luxury time. It's like you game, you read, you do whatever the hell you want in that time, and then you go to bed and you wake up, so you don't feel like you lost anything, unless you're Jazz.
Who's shaking his head.
How?
Like, what's sleep?
How? Do you want to know what my schedule was today? I got up at 4 a.m. I got up at 4 a.m. Do you know why I got up at 4 a.m?
Let's hear it.
I went to sleep in the afternoon for like a couple of hours, and I woke up in the morning, in the middle of the night. I wrote 2,000 words of an article, and then I went to bed again at 10 a.m. for a few hours. And then I woke up at like 2 p.m. and then I had to go somewhere, and I missed the meeting and got in trouble.
Oh, no.
And then after the meeting, I got home, and then I went to bed again. Slept for a couple of hours, and then I did a podcast. And I canceled my own stream because, I had to find some time to actually eat. Right. And then as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go to sleep again and probably wake up again at 4 a.m. because this is my life now. And the day before, I woke up at like 4 p.m. or something like that.
Sleep schedule.
I got this smart ring, right? This is a smart ring, a Oura ring, which tracks your sleep cycles. The app just doesn't understand when I'm trying to sleep. It's like, are you asleep right now? And it comes up with a pop-up, like, it's like, why is this guy sleeping in the middle of the day? The app just doesn't get it. It doesn't get my sleep cycle. So,
my sleep cycle got screwed up last week thanks to Cognito, right?
What I do,
dude? So I'm at a party with a couple people. I got offline. It was like 4:35 a.m. Right? I'm like, I'm heading to bed, and I normally don't bring my phone with me. I usually leave it downstairs, but for whatever reason, I brought my phone with me. Right at like 8 a.m., I hear it rumbling. Right, I hear vibrating all over the place. I'm like, what is going on? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I just went to bed. I look at it. I have 10 DMs, and I got 2 calls from Cognito and a message being like, bro, Xbox bought Activision Blizzard. I'm like, what? I like call Cognito back, and he's like, yo, I wouldn't call you unless somebody was dead or something's going on. And I'm like,
someone died. We called.
So I'm like, what's going on? He's like, they bought Activision Blizzard. And I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Let me bring up Twitter, and I saw Phil's tweet, and I'm like, okay, they did. I'm like, well, I gotta go make a video now. Thanks, Cog. And it basically was up all day because like I had to make the video, I had to do our own podcast, I had to do another podcast that night, right? Yep. And we were then supposed to do Defining Duke the next day, but we couldn't. I was so tired. I literally slept the entirety of Wednesday. Wow. I was so exhausted. And my sleep schedule has been like ridiculous ever since then. So thanks, God, for waking me up.
Butterfly.
I had a normal sleep cycle until Activision Blizzard, and then like I was like,
this is a
finally
breaking move by Xbox. Yeah. Even across not even just games, just our lives.
All of us, right, guys? Yes.
It wasn't even work related though. I was just wide awake at night, like thinking, my God, 70 billion
Billion?
Activision. Thinking about all the possibilities and what it means, and I was just wide awake, like staring at the scene, like, oh my God. and then it's like 5 a.m, and I'm like, well, there it is. My sleep cycle's destroyed again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Microsoft.
Yeah, same thing, bro. Like it was just like 6-hour ILP. like then we do what Sacred Symbols and the Dukes crossover. But it's just like you it's like Red and Jess said, it's one of those things when it's a moment like that, you just like, all right, it is what it is. You know what you're in here for. You know what you signed up for.
Yeah, you know if you sleep during those moments, or rather, if you sink during those moments, you'll never swim. That's what's gonna happen.
Correct.
Well, hey, speaking of Activision, let's talk about them a little bit. Number 2 comes from Joe England, who maybe likes the onion sandwiches like Trent. Microsoft has made it clear their aim is to have a AAA release every 3 months, which could become even more frequent with the latest acquisition. When they reach this goal, as they inevitably will, there's no doubt there's going to be a price increase. And my question is, what do you think a fair price for a service that delivers this is? Keep up the good work, Joe. So yeah, we're I imagine they're not done after Activision, which is fucking bananas to even say. But their goal has been, to get quarterly first-party releases into Game Pass. And do we think they're there right now with Activision, or do we think there's a couple of steps along the way they have to hit? Whoever would like to go first?
I think they're close. I think they're close with Activision, and I think they'll probably be there if they can kind of remove some of the studios from the Call of Duty machine, right? The grind. If like you can turn Beanox and High Moon Studios and Toys for Bob into like individual studios again, they're pretty close now. I think they'll hit their target in 2023, 2024. They got a lot of games coming from global publishing, a lot of games from internally, plus Bethesda. Like we don't even know things going on with Bethesda outside of like what's coming this year. So I think they're pretty close, and they need to start really doing it because I've talked to Cog about this a lot. Like I'm sick of Microsoft basically forgetting the first 9 months of the year exist. It's like, nothing. It's like, okay, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, finally games from first party. Yay. I'm really sick of that. And hopefully next year can kind of be the blueprint where we kind of get a game every quarter. And I think maybe Xbox needs to start holding games, right? What I mean by that is like, say Hellblade 2's finished, right? But Avowed's out, and you don't want to really release Hellblade 2, so you hold Hellblade 2 for a quarter and then release it, right? Where you're actually spacing stuff, kind of like how Netflix does a lot of the time. Like they don't really have a lot of shows overlap. But no, I think the Activision thing is going to be, we don't know for sure if they're going to remove these studios from the Call of Duty grind machine. So maybe they won't, maybe they will. But if they do, plus you add in Bethesda or Blizzard, I think they're a lot closer to that target, which I never thought they were going to hit personally. I was like, oh, you only got these 15 studios? That's going to be really tough to do. And then they bought Bethesda, and I was like, okay, you're getting pretty close. And now they got Activision Blizzard, and you're like, wow, you're almost right there. So you're getting really close to it.
Jez, what about yourself? Do you think we're at that point now? Quarterly releases inbound when the deal is done?
I think they need to buy Capcom. I don't know. I think Blizzard can be a bit slow when they're making games. I mean, Robert Kotick, he blamed Blizzard for the sliding share price, didn't he? Rather than the scandal, he was like, "Oh, Overwatch 2 and Diablo missed its target, so our share price went down." Fuck off, Robert Kotick.
What'd you want to do to him? What'd you want to shoot him out of an ILP?
A
classic
cannon.
line.
Yeah,
yes,
cannon.
the classic line.
Yeah, shoot him out of a cannon. I mean, that's not a threat. I think that's a British expression. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. But nah, he's a dickhead, isn't he? But anyway, I've forgotten, lost my train of thought now. But one game per quarter.
Releases. Yeah,
quarterly releases. We probably are between like things like big expansion packs, DLC, things like that. Microsoft expanding studios, Grounded getting big updates. Sea of Thieves has got a preview update next week where they say 2022 is going to be its biggest year ever for content, which is really, really exciting to think about. We're going to have Halo Infinite get a story DLC this year or next year probably, and new Battle Pass, and if you're into that kind of thing. And so it doesn't have to just be a game. It can be like a big content drop for a service game too that they can put in, and sort of cycle those backwards and forwards. Because some of the Netflix series, sometimes they only get like a few episodes in an update, like that Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, which I really like. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a new season, but then it's like 3 episodes or something. It's like a DLC for a TV show. But yeah, I think like Blizzard brings them closer to that goal. But then it sort of becomes like, do they need to have big games if like they're doing more stuff like perks? Because we've started to see them dabble more in perks, and like you get rolling perks for Halo Infinite if you're Ultimate Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. And with games like Overwatch and World of Warcraft and stuff like that, there's a lot of ways you could add value to people who play only those games. If you are a Game Pass subscriber, like maybe you subscribe to World of Warcraft, you get like, I don't know. I mean, there's some things that will break the game, but maybe you get like cosmetics or something if you subscribe, and like I see like they just announced a bunch of perks you get in Smite if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, and maybe if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you get like extra loot boxes for Overwatch or something every now and then, stuff like that, So I think like they can add value in ways that we haven't foreseen yet with all the service games they're getting. Stuff like, you get an extra Candy Crush accelerator every month or something.
that.
But, I don't know. That'll bring in the big bucks, man, when they put Candy Crush into Xbox Game Pass. But it's really, there's so many possibilities, and this is why I can't sleep, thinking about all these possibilities every night.
Cog, what about you, man? You think we're gonna hit those quarterly launches?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of it for me personally starts with ZeniMax and all those guys once they get rolling, because I still think Activision is so much to this deal. The complexity is so much, and then you got the mobile side and PC side. So I do think they'll hit it, because by then I think by the time Bethesda's ready, I feel like it's funny to call them, even though they're all one family, like the core Xbox Game Studios, Obsidian and Exile and the Ninja Theory and all these others, right? So it's like, I think once they get running and combine, synergize with Bethesda, that will really get scary, I feel, as far as Cadence and all those guys and Machine Games, stuff like that. But to Joe England's question, I do think it's inevitable that price is going up.
Yeah.
I think I mean, I just got a notification from Netflix like a day ago. Oh, by the way, we raised the price of your Netflix. And I'm like, all right, I'm still watching The Witcher. I'm still watching, what am I going to do? So I think as things heat up, especially when Call of Duty and all that stuff really get into a cadence, I think it's inevitable that ultimate price hits up, because by then they can justify, once the cadence hits, they can say, hey, a little extra, what is it, $20 for Ultimate right now? What's Ultimate right now?
15.
It's 15.
It's 15. I can easily see the $20 spot. And hey, maybe some BlizzNet perk or, Battle.net perk or something. And they're going to start playing around. And at that point, then we can say, okay, all right. But right now they can't. But that's my prediction.
Oh, yeah. So I forgot the question was about the price increase. It's inevitable.
I was actually thinking, like, oh man, Cognito is such a good host. He's the only one who actually remembered the question.
I know. I just totally forgot it was about the price. So I guess I'll answer that really quickly. It's inevitable the price will go up. Of course, prices will go up at some point in time. Whether the prices go up because of inflation, where like instead of $10 a month for Game Pass, it's $11 because they need to adjust the pricing for inflation, or they just randomly bump it up there because we have enough users now. Now's the time to basically, get as much money as possible. I've said to Jazz, I think they'll keep it at 10 and 15 for Ultimate for a while until they hit a number internally, like 40 million, 50 million. And then they'll be like, okay, Game Pass is now $15 a month. Ultimate's now 20. And they raise it like $5 overnight. And then you already have 50 million people paying whatever, and now now everybody's paying an extra $5. But I think they're gonna wait until they have a big number before they do that.
I have a bit of a hot take.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's in line with what you guys are saying, but I think they're not holding till they prove something. I think they're holding till PlayStation reveals theirs, whatever their Game Pass is. My theory is let's say PlayStation would commit seppuku if they pretty much revealed a higher price tag than Game Pass right now. Like, it would just kill them. It's why when we heard the rumors of Spartacus, I was like, if I'm Phil, I'm saying I don't care what deal we make. I don't care how much money we're paying. I don't care what happens to the shareholders. Hold the damn price till they announce this thing, because it puts them in a position where, number one, PlayStation's got to be competitive. At least you'd hope so. But also, it's kind of like smart delivery, where I feel like PlayStation accidentally made smart delivery look really good with their whole upgrading process, where a lot of us were joking about smart delivery. It's a thing, right?
Yeah,
you stupid little digital gimmick. It's like, no, it was actually like a legit feature that was quite helpful. And I think with Game Pass, like, the price won't go up until at least we see what PlayStation is doing, where, again, Game Pass can hold strong and be like, here's our thing that already exists, and you're paying $25 for back compat games on PlayStation, maybe. Like, I could see a scenario like that where Xbox strongly benefits. So I think like that's their first tier. And then, of course, afterwards, once you're delivering, then you can really, because I don't want to act like they're not delivering now, but I'm talking on a first party consistency level, where they're really rolling quarters, you have a cadence, as Cog said. Then I think it's a more justifiable price hike, where most of us in the core space are looking at it like, I personally can't imagine unsubscribing to Game Pass. There's just so much value in it already. So once they get to that point where we're talking the cadence, it's like, they're not even gonna get a single argument when that price goes up, unless it's like $30 a month. Then that might be a problem.
Just chopping at the bit.
I think they're gonna start like experimenting with new tiers as well eventually. I think we are going to see a family pass, which is more expensive. Spotify has one, Netflix has one, even Nintendo has one for Nintendo Online. So I think we're going to see some higher tiers. I can see like Microsoft expanding, having like an expansion pass plus add-on where you can get like Minecraft Dungeons expansions and DLC for the extra tier.
So they would call it Ultimate Plus. Like defining Duke Ultimate Plus or whatever.
That's our new show.
Why not? I think they'll experiment with some of this stuff, and also like a Game Pass Lite where it's just maybe Xbox Live Gold and Cloud.
I was just about to ask you about that, about Gold.
Yeah, I think there'll be a cheaper tier too. Yeah, because there's a lot of people who look at, like, especially in the target markets for cloud, it's like, what the hell do I need Game Pass for PC and Game Pass for console for? All I want is the cloud.
Good point.
So it's weird that the only reason they don't have a cloud only subscription is capacity. Like if they went for a cloud only subscription, they would blow up their server capacity straight away, I would think. Yeah. They're waiting until they can get more chips and more servers before they pull that trigger. Because as we saw, xCloud had queues over Christmas, which is the first time it's had queues. So I think we'll see more tiers as well as it getting more expensive. But I agree with Rand. They're gonna hit some. They're gonna, I agree with both of you. Either they want to hit some internal metric first, where they can account for maybe people unsubscribing if they're salty that the price has gone up, or they're waiting for PlayStation to announce their pricing structure so they can be like, okay, well, we know their pricing structure now we can respond or react or whatever. But I do think it'll go up eventually. I mean, it's just a crazy amount of value what we get right now, and like it's funny. It's like gamers seem unanimously like the price should go up almost.
Yeah, it's weird.
I get that question all the
Please
time.
take more of my money, Phil.
Yeah, they'd be like, gamers, if they got Ubisoft and WB, would you be okay with the like? I see that all the time. Everybody's like, yes, and it's like
an Xbox.
resounding.
A company that's having their consumers entertained paying them more. Like,
people like, buy that and I'll pay more.
It's funny though, because Game Pass has like stacking value, because every now and then I log into the Game Pass app and it's like, oh, you've got 30 quests done, hand them in. And then I press a button and it's like, oh, now you've got like 5,000 Microsoft points. And it's like, oh, I can convert those Microsoft points into 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate or whatever.
Yep.
Like I just converted some points now,
Sneaky good system that doesn't get a lot of attention.
Doesn't get enough credit. I agree.
And also the discounts. Like you get discounts on games that are in Game Pass. Like when they're exiting the service, if you think, well, I haven't finished this game yet, I want to buy it. which is, something I've done a few times. Some of the games get like anywhere up to 15% off, to buy them outright, and it's like an exclusive discount. If you buy enough games with that discount, Game Pass is almost paying for itself. It's wild value. It's wild. But the only reason they can pull it off is because they are the platform holder.
True.
Defining Duke is brought to you by Chromadex. From head to toe, your body is made up of trillions of cells, which are busy performing their specific functions to keep you healthy and resilient. And a big part of that are daily supplements. I take my vitamin gummies, I take my turmeric, my glucosamine. I'm all about the supplement grind. And to keep up with all the work your body is doing, a sufficient supply of an essential molecule called NAD+ must be maintained for cells to perform their normal functions, which include creating ATP for cellular energy, repairing your cells, and supporting healthy mitochondria. The powerhouse, right? We're not talking about cog, but the actual powerhouse of the cells. Over 6 human clinical trials have demonstrated that daily supplementation with NR, known as Niagen, can safely and effectively elevate your NAD+ levels, giving each one of your hardworking cells exactly what they need to perform at its best. Since taking True Niagen, I feel at peace knowing it is researched by top scientific institutions in the world. Right now, new customers can save 20% on their first new purchase by going to trueniagen.com/Duke and use the code Duke. That's TRUNIAGEN.com/Duke. Code Duke to save 20% on your first purchase. TrueNiagen.com/Duke. Code Duke. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Let's get into our final starting question before we really dive deep into the news. Daniel Short asks our most pressing one yet. Hey, Dukes, if Xbox was a condiment, which would it be and why?
Jazz is going to ask.
He's going to say mayo, and I'm going to puke.
Jazz, is this true? Mayo?
Nah, I don't know. I need to think about it. I need to think about that one, actually.
You actually got to give it some thought.
I don't know. That's a complicated question because it's green, right? So wouldn't it have to be like, I don't know, guacamole? Is that a condiment?
Yo, man, you thinking the same
guacamole.
thing. Like, it's got to be. I know where he's going because I was like, it's got to be green though, right? But I was like, what could it be?
what condiment is green? Like, I can't think of it.
Does it have to match
green ketchup?
Do we have to speak to a condiment on a thematic level of like its taste, its blending with certain foods?
That's why
we have to speak to what Xbox is.
I just said ketchup because I know. First, I love ketchup.
Exactly, I'm with Cock on this.
I love ketchup, and he bought this. If you listening, he hates condiments and he hates ketchup. That's what I met him in real life.
Dry burger.
Yeah, like I looked at him eat a burger and he's like removing things. I'm like, what are you doing? I hate condiments. So I'm a ketchup guy.
I do.
And ketchup, like, it goes with everything. You get it, it's versatile. You can put it everywhere. So to me, it's like Game Pass. You get a little bit everywhere. It can go everywhere. So
the problem with that is everyone likes ketchup, and a lot of people really hate Microsoft. So maybe it's more like Marmite. And none of you guys even know what Marmite is.
I was thinking mustard. But what's Marmite?
Mustard. Ew, mustard. Oh.
What, you guys don't like mustard?
No.
I don't like mustard.
Mustard's disgusting.
Wait, Rand doesn't like mustard?
No, give me ketchup. That's it.
No, of course. But you can't have mustard at all.
I don't like mustard. I do not like mustard.
You don't like a hot dog with a little Chicago dog?
I won't eat it. If it's got mustard on it, it's going in the trash.
What if I said honey mustard? What if I sweetened it?
Honey mustard? You're not a man of culture.
I'm just saying. I feel like mustard. I don't know if thematically it speaks to what Xbox is, but I feel like Jez's point is where I was sort of feeding off with that, right? It's like not everyone likes them. Like Rand is one of those guys. Like not everyone likes mustard. Not everyone likes Xbox, but those who get in, they really learn the true taste of mustard. They realize that this goes pretty great with a lot of things, huh?
Rand would never.
I agree with that because I actually used to hate mustard too. And then one day I was like, actually, this is pretty damn good. And now I put mustard on everything.
And there's lots of forms of mustard, right? You got honey mustard. I actually don't know what other mustards go beyond.
I don't know what other mustard. We got to get Rand some honey mustard.
There's garlic mustard.
That's a thing? That's got to be a UK thing. That's got to be a UK thing.
What? Garlic mustard? I don't know.
Hold on. Garlic mustard. Let's see.
Maybe I invented that just now.
No, that's the thing. It is native to Europe, Western and Central Asia, Northwestern Africa, Morocco, Iberia, and British Isles. I was actually joking, but this is actually like a fucking Like a
Yeah,
UK thing.
I've had that somewhere. I can't remember where.
Mhm.
Man,
That
condiments
is-
are awesome. I really wish you guys knew what Marmite was. And Marmite's a British thing. It's
Yeah.
basically
What is it?
salt and yeast as a condiment.
This looks terrible.
It's like a black sticky
It looks like
spread.
tar. It's like you're putting tar
Yeah,
on your
it looks
bread.
like tar, and it just tastes like salt and yeast. It's like a byproduct from brewing beer, and one it's like it was like coming out of the machine, and some guy was like, "I'm going to try and eat that," and he put it on toast and sold it, and like that. The marketing campaign for Marmite is you either love it or you hate it. That's the marketing
I
campaign.
respect that. I respect that.
Yeah, I'm
I
looking at
love
the
it.
bottles now. Marmite yeast extract.
Yeah,
It's a vegan spread. Yeah, this might be fitting.
it's
Might be fitting. Because like
It's-
a lot of
it's
people think
super
vegan
sticky,
food
too.
just sucks, but when you try vegan food, it's like it's actually isn't that bad. Like if like I had this, it's this place called the
They've
Black
only
Cat in the
started
City.
calling it vegan food recently because it's trendy. Like
Yeah, true.
nobody thinks of it as vegan food in Britain. It's
Well
like it's something it's like you're hungover and you can't be bothered to do any real food, so you just get a toast in the toaster and just slap some salty Marmite on it. That's the kind of food it is.
It's like chocolate sauce. like you put fudge on bread.
It's like salty fudge, basically.
Okay.
Thick, yeah. I'm gonna see if I can like post you guys some because it's Marmite is an institution. It's very important to British people, except for those who hate
being
it.
educated on the culture here.
What about
That's
like
good.
fluff?
Fluff.
That's almost
Yeah.
too
Stuff
good,
on
yeah?
the floor that goes up the vacuum.
No, man, fluff.
Fluff? What
You
do
never
mean
heard
about?
of fluff? You never had fluff before?
Break it down. This
I
is
only
some
heard
Chicago
peanut butter
stuff.
and fluff. Like I've never heard
Peanut
of
butter and fluff, yeah.
I've never heard
Fluff
of
is basically
What's
like
fluff?
it's like marshmallow. How would you explain it, Cog? It's like basically just a
It's like
marshmallow spread.
nut.
Marshmallow spread almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. This
Sounds
is,
horrible.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so good.
I don't know. It's
Peanut
kind of
butter
like
and
if you look at a
fluff.
picture of marshmallow fluff, it's got some mayonnaise energy. You know,
Yeah, but it actually tastes good though.
It tastes good, but
There's-
it do.
okay.
It looks straight up like mayo. Like when you look at the jar and stuff, it looks like. So Jez might get tricked. We might trick Jez into it.
Now, would you
And we'll
guys
do-
eat a spread called Fluffer Nutter? I'm not kidding. I just found one. It says a Fluffer Nutter is a tasty concoction of marshmallow fluff and peanut butter mixed together.
We
between
sure
two
that's
spoons.
what's in the concoction?
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds sexual.
That sounds very sexual.
That's not right. Fluffer Nutter.
Fluffer Nutter. Pause.
I mean, I sometimes call it peanut butter nut butt, but like that's just me being facetious.
Oh, we went left.
Yeah.
So how's the news?
Yeah, let's get into the news. We got a lot to get into. All right, number one. Last week, Xbox announced the largest acquisition we've seen in the history of the video games as a whole when they snagged Activision Blizzard King for the right price tag of $68.7 billion. Since then, there has been quite a bit of fallout surrounding the deal in regards to the handling of the long-gone Activision IP, Sony's response to the acquisition, and the status of gaming's biggest and best-selling title, Call of Duty. Bloomberg reports that a Sony spokesperson stated the following, quote, "We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform," end quote. It's very well possible that Phil, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, caught wind of this reply and dialed Sony's number, as later that same day he had tweeted the following, quote, "Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship," end quote. Subsequent reports arriving from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg paint a more accurate picture, as his sources state the next 3 Call of Duty games will arrive on PlayStation, where after that it will get hazier. Separately, Phil Spencer took an interview with Washington Post where he opened up on the plans for a cleanup job pertaining to Activision's culture as a brand. Phil states, quote, "I believe the leaders there believe in the opportunity they have in their plan." Washington Post then writes, "In addressing the potential of bringing on unionized workers, he said that his company will aim to empower its new employees to do their best work," end quote. Phil proceeded to speak more thoroughly on the potential of IP that come with this deal, saying, quote, "I was looking at the IP list. I mean, let's go. King's Quest, Guitar Hero. I should know this, but I think we got Hexen. We're hoping that we're able to work with them when the deal closes to make sure we have resources to work on franchises that I love from my childhood," and that the teams really want to get. I'm looking forward to these conversations. I really think it's about adding resources and increasing capability, end quote. Speaking of which, current CEO at Activision, Bobby Kotick, spoke fairly confidently on what series he feels Xbox could help revive. Quote, Phil and I started riffing on things for the future. I'll give you 3 that are really compelling. I wanted to make a new Guitar Hero for a while, but I don't want to add teams to do manufacturing and supply chain and QA for manufacturing. And the chip shortages are enormous. We didn't really have the ability to do that. I had a cool vision for what the next Guitar Hero would be and realized we don't have the resources to do that. And Skylanders too. One of the great disappointments of my career. Everything else. I can't believe he said this is a post. I didn't even know this is a fucking post, like heinous accusation error. He goes, one of the great disappointments of my career is that other people came in and they came out with crappy alternatives for Skylanders. And they dumped all these crappy alternatives into the market and basically destroyed the market for what was a really cool future opportunity. And in these conversations, I was sharing my frustration about not having enough social capability in Candy Crush. I really want to be able to have a Candy Crush experience where players can play games against each other. And they can socialize. And they have voice over IP and video over IP, end quote. Guitar Hero is a series that has surpassed 25 million sales, and Guitar Hero 3 specifically was the first video game to ever accrue $1 billion in revenue. Skylanders was put to a screeching halt in 2016 after enjoying success of its own, passing $3 billion in sales. Other assumed to be dead IP have succeeded for Activision. Before being added to the Call of Duty enrollment program, Vicarious Visions created Crash Insane Trilogy, which pushed past 10 million sales by February 2019. They also remade Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which became the fastest selling game in the entire series that hit 1 million sales in September of 2020. Spyro Reignited Trilogy from Toys for Bob clocked in at 1 million sales as well, which is more than all past Spyro games combined. Lastly, former Spider-Man developer Beanox is responsible for Crash Team Racing, which net nearly 2 million sales upon its release. Suffice to say that Xbox is currently sitting on a gold mine without even accounting for Call of Duty as of this moment. Okay, a lot there to dissect. Thank you for bearing with me, gentlemen, as I read through all of that. Where do you all want to begin with this, right? We're talking about Xbox, Call of Duty, our intent to honor the agreements, the dead IP that will be revived. Let's kick it to you, Rand, right away. Where do you want to start this one, man?
I get to pick?
You get to pick. Guest honor.
All right, well, let's go to the juicy one. Let's go to the... Sony responding and Phil's tweet about Call of Duty, right? Because I think all these are great, but I mean, I think maybe this is the one that a lot of people will be very interested in, right? So I said in my video that about Sony responding, because I think you read their quote, right? Like, we expect their games, or we expect them to honor their agreements and continue to be multi-platform. And I called up Cog and we were talking about this, and I said, you know what Sony's response sounds like to me? Smells like fear. Smells like fear. Smells like they're a little afraid of losing Call of Duty, the best-selling game on PlayStation last 10 years. PlayStation makes a lot of their money, if not the most of their money, on DLC and microtransactions. And you can imagine Call of Duty takes up a large portion of that pie. So I would imagine when this news went down, it probably freaked them out. Wait a minute.
I would imagine.
Wait a minute. We're about to lose Call of Duty? We have the marketing agreement for this? Call up Phil Spender right now, right? And then Phil makes his tweet, which was, hey, we're going to honor our existing agreements. Everybody knew that was going to be the case. They did it with Bethesda. They've done it with all their studios. But then it was his use of the word desire, which set everybody like, okay, what does this really mean? Now, my co-host of Xbox 2, he disagrees with me on this. When this originally all went down, and Jez was in my DMs, he was like, listen, Phil's a nice guy. Phil's a really, really nice guy. And he is. For anybody that hasn't had the pleasure to talk with him or anything, Phil is a genuinely nice guy. But Phil's also an assassin. You don't get to be the position of CEO Microsoft Gaming by just being a nice guy.
So he got the hand and blade action.
You're an assassin, right? So Jez thinks that Phil's going to Minecraft Call of Duty. that it's always going to be on PlayStation because he's just that nice. And Call of Duty makes too much money that it's such a multiplayer-focused title with, microtransactions and DLC that you essentially, you lose out a lot if you don't have the game everywhere, right? I'm of the opinion, I'm like, well, you see, you can have Call of Duty Warzone on PlayStation and still rack in those microtransaction dollars and the cosmetic stuff. And then if you're moving Call of Duty to every other year, you can position it as a premium experience within Game Pass. So that was mine. So I think Call of Duty goes exclusives. Jez thinks it's going to be multi-platform. And I think Phil is pretty much just being like, listen, we have a desire to do it. I desire to be rich and have a hot girlfriend and be skinny, but we don't always get what we desire, right? So I think he's just saying what he needs to say.
All right.
And but I will say that it's certainly possible that they keep Call of Duty on PlayStation forever if they have to because of government regulation, right? Because what else they get outside of Call of Duty is so big. Like they get King, and nobody talks about King because it's not sexy. None of us play mobile, right? I think King just by itself made $2 billion last year, and Microsoft doesn't have a mobile presence. The games that Microsoft make, they basically shut down after 2 years. They shut down Gears Pop. They shut down Forza Street, right? They don't know what they're doing in the mobile space. But now they actually get the fourth biggest platform for revenue in mobile, only behind Tencent and NetEase, and I forget the third. So you immediately go from no presence to like one of the biggest. And then you get Blizzard for your PC push, legacy content, great developers. Well, hopefully, they get better in the future. And, that's for your PC Game Pass and stuff. So like, even if Call of Duty has to remain multi-platform, the deal makes so much sense because of everything else you get. But I do think Warzone remains multi-platform and the regular games become Xbox exclusive.
Oh, he shakes his head right away. Jez, come on. Let's
hear an episode of the Xbox 2 right now between these two. Let's go. Let's go, Jez.
Phil's a nice guy. Phil's a nice guy. I don't know. I kind of see I could see it go Rand's way. And it often does because Rand often pretends that he's making predictions, but he knows.
Talk about it, Jim.
Rand knows
the real insider.
He claims he's not an insider, and he says, "Oh, this is just a prediction." Predictions, 100% track rate on those predictions. Kind of falling outside the realm of luck there a bit, Rand. Now.
I know.
But anyway,
the game is rigged.
Our game is rigged. Yeah, I could see it going that way because I've heard from Microsoft executives in the past that there was a sense of regret for not making Minecraft exclusive.
Ooh.
So, but then again, you have to wonder if they had made Minecraft exclusive, would it be the institution it is right now? But then again, you have to think again. League of Legends is an institution, and that's never been on console. Valorant's an institution, that's never been on console. Candy Crush, never been on console. So, man, maybe we'll get a sick Candy Crush port to Xbox. That'd be rad. But anyway, I digress. I kind of feel like a big hint for me about this is what Satya and Phil have often said. And Phil said it when he came on board and he did that interview with Major Nelson all the way back in some year. I can't remember.
2014.
How do you even know what I'm going to say?
Because I know the interview you're talking about, and it was when he first took over Xbox in April of 2014.
It's because Rand works there, so he was behind the camera filming this.
Maybe it's not that Rand has inside information. Maybe he's literally psychic. Randall's psychic.
I've been playing my Powerball numbers.
Game is rigged. But anyway, but what he said in that interview in 2014, according to Rand, was he said, we see gaming doing for Microsoft what music and iTunes did for Apple. They see Xbox as driving a halo effect of positive sentiment over the Microsoft brand, a cultural anchor, and Microsoft sees that as its own value in its own right. They're not just seeing it as a business thing; they're seeing it as a cultural thing, a driver of culture, in a world where they lost entire audience of children to TikTok and Instagram. And we all grew up with Windows in the 90s, and we all grew up with these like classic experiences. And Windows and PC shaped a lot of our early experiences with the internet in a way that TikTok and Instagram shaping it for like younger kids now. And that's why Microsoft bought Minecraft in the first place. It's a cultural thing, right? And Microsoft sees that Xbox as being a driver of positive cultural sentiment. I think if you take Call of Duty away from PlayStation, you are undermining that mission to be a positive cultural entity. I think a lot of these games like Diablo, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout, they only release once every few years, and they're not an institution in the same way that Minecraft and Call of Duty are. Those games are an institution. They're on everything, and they really represent Microsoft's vision of. And this is another thing. Whenever they talk about metaverse, you notice they never mention VR. They're talking about cross-platform experiences. Yes. They're trying to reframe the metaverse as something that isn't VR. They're saying the metaverse is a cross-platform ecosystem, and Call of Duty really does represent that. It's on mobile. It'll be on cloud once this deal closes. And you got Warzone, which is your service type Call of Duty. You got Call of Duty Mobile, which is your mobile Call of Duty. And then you'll have the core Call of Duty, which will be your retail presence. I don't think Microsoft takes it away from PlayStation because they value the cultural impact that it has. And I think if you take it away from PlayStation, you lose some of that. You get enough exclusivity from Game Pass, the value of Game Pass. You can have value from, extra COD points in Game Pass Ultimate or whatever. You can drive value to COD as an exclusive entity in Game Pass without taking it away from PlayStation. And I think if Phil is genuine in him saying that, like, they value their relationship with PlayStation, yeah, I think it sabotages PlayStation if they take Call of Duty away. That being said, I do think they'll ask for concessions. And if I had to guess, it would be around things like the cross-play tax, which PlayStation charges devs money in order to implement crossplay, which hurts Xbox. If I'm the influential kid in the group and I say we're all buying PlayStation, there was a whole South Park episode about this. The kid says, we're all buying PlayStation, and then all the kids buy PlayStation, and it was like that at school. I remember going batting like we're buying PlayStation, we're not buying N64, and then kids would fight over it. Some rich kids would buy both, but a lot of kids, they don't get to buy both. Not where I'm from. They get one, and if they're lucky, it's not stolen or secondhand or whatever.
You're not getting both from your ivory tower.
Oh,
Rand, we don't talk about sticks, right? But anyway, but yeah, I seriously think they'll keep it across everything because of the sentiment it drives, and Microsoft puts a value on that other platform holders don't. Because they are a big tech company, they do see themselves as a cultural entity, and they do see themselves as having a social responsibility. They have revenues higher than the GDP of some countries, and there is an element of guilt at the top of Microsoft about that, I think. So I don't think they'll take it away from PlayStation, but I could be wrong. I could be very, very, very naive, and maybe Rand knows better than me that Phil is a nice guy, but also secretly an assassin, as Rand so eloquently stated. But I want to believe that they'll keep it multi-platform for the people. For the people.
See, this is where I wish the Xbox 2 was in lock and step, because with Bethesda, we were both being like, these games are exclusive, 100%, no doubt in our mind.
Undeniable.
But now Xbox 2 is fractured.
It's fractured.
And we're going to be fractured for the next 12 to 18 months. Unless one of us comes to the other's line of thinking here. So,
let's see if
Let's see what Phil says,
Cog's the healing hand of everything he touches. So let's see if he can mend this and bring the balance take in.
I can't believe I'm going against my friend Jez. I can't believe I rarely go against Jez. No, but look, Jez makes some very, very astute points. And he actually made another point he mentioned yet on the Xbox 2 it ran that I told Rand that even that shook my core as far as my belief of what I think would happen. Because I do believe, I'm still going to stand on my square. I still believe that they will become exclusive to Xbox as far as Call of Duty. Warzone will remain the same. Now, what I was surprised was when the Bloomberg article came out, I did not know Warzone 2 was considered another part of that lineage because I didn't know what the contractual arrangement with PlayStation was, right? So I'm thinking it might not be till 2024. Who knows if it was a 3-year, 5-year marketing deal or what have you. So then when I saw that Warzone 2 was included, I'm like, oh, this ends a little faster than I anticipated, right? So to Jed's point, I do understand, you still gain value if it's multiplayer. You still Game Pass still is going to be amazing with Call of Duty in it. You still get revenue from PlayStation. You know what I mean? If it's on there with the splits and the cuts, and I get it. I think I want to actually, before I get this, I did want to mention the fact that this severely damages PlayStation in the sense that from a competitive standpoint, they've relied on Call of Duty so much as their multiplayer outlet because in-house, they don't have that anymore. There's no, the SOCOMs, the Killzone, like everything has been, that's why these deals happen. So I think that's where Rand's point is with the fear. Like you guys are going to honor those arrangements, right? Contractually, you're going to honor that, right? I think that's what it is because prior to this is probably a reality they didn't even envision could happen. They literally we're the home of Call of Duty, PlayStation, right? We're the home because in their mind, we'll do these third-person cinematic experiences. We play third parties to do the other stuff that we don't do. We've got the game on lock. This whole deal with Activision and Microsoft, this shakes them to their core. And it's not fanboying. It's real. Like this is not something they really anticipated. So now they have to pivot, right? Now, here's the thing. I just look at it with Warzone, I'm with you. Like, I think they can't rip that. That's literally ripping an existing online community completely. That's going to, for the most part, be there in perpetuity, right? That you can't really do. That doesn't feel good. You say, hey, come this date, you can't log into Warzone. Like, it don't feel good. Now, with a franchise that is annualized, that has sequels, right? I feel it's less. It's less in the sense that, okay, you just don't say anything. It'll be like when Call of Duty 2024 comes out, you just see the Xbox logo and then the questions happen. So what about, where's the PS4, PS5? What's going on? I just think Game Pass might be just too important, to as a driver to get I just think about the casual guy. Yeah. I know those guys, man. Like I said it before, Maddie, when we did the Sacred Symbols crossover and we try to wave under the white flag about this thing. Okay. And I look at the Series S, as King David puts it, as the bayonet, the secret weapon. $300, bro. I know those dudes, Call of Duty every year. Call of Duty, Madden, 2K. That's all they buy every year. I know that guy. I know that. Bro, the new Call of Duty came out. And now you've got this nice little system that's essentially a Game Pass machine because there's no physical nature to it. It's a Game Pass machine, right? So you get there and you're just like, oh, wait a minute. I could walk out right now. I could pay $70. I could do this, right? You do that. And if it's exclusive, it's even more of a no-brainer. And then it's like, oh, by the way, we got all access. We have all access. You don't got the money right now. We got you. And then at some point, we know the S is going to go down. Let's be honest. The S will go down at some point later in the cycle. And I just think it becomes just attractive, casual machine. Now, the last point I say, again, I'm 60-40. The last point that Jess said that does scare me, and I have to give him this, is the point you made about Microsoft does not want to weaken PlayStation so much that they may be ripe for acquisition. That is valid. That scares me because now if they don't have Call of Duty, right? Or, saying the regulators, Microsoft, somehow their lawyers are so amazing. They get past the antitrust guys, get past the regulators. But like now it's like, oh wow, here comes Apple.
So this is Jez's 4D chess move that you heard on Xbox 2, right? This is Phil thinking 4D chess, being like, you know what? let's keep Call of Duty PlayStation strong. Why, Cog? Why?
Yeah, because a new challenger has arrived, and here comes Apple to, hey, PlayStation, you're down on your luck. That's something I don't think Microsoft don't want that to happen. They don't want Tencent. They don't want any of these big players. Microsoft have called them out. These are the guys they're scared of. These are the guys they're worried about. So you don't want them acquiring Sony, and now so here's 15 more studio, and now you buy Square and you buy this, and then it's like, oh no, we done. Hey, let's play nice with you. Let's, you know what I'm saying? So again, I'm 60-40. Well, 60% is still, I feel you got to feed Game Pass, but the 40% is like, okay, I do. You may not want to cripple PlayStation that bad, but Maddie, I'm gonna give it to you, man. This is a good debate, and we're gonna have this debate for a while. Yeah. It's gonna be for 18 months. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's a conversation that you get. I feel like you're not wrong no matter what side of the fence you fall on. Yeah. I fall on the side of the very casual, hey, you spent a lot of money on this. I think you might want to lock it down. I think the game plan seems to me super clear because kind of feeding off what Rand said, Phil's the CEO. He's certainly speaking like one here with desire, intent to honor, very open to interpretation wording, not full committal there. That is, it's blameless wording. It's like, if it doesn't work out and Xbox does make Call of Duty exclusive, it's like, well, dog, we wanted this. We wanted this.
Hey, we desired it.
It's an easy finger to point, in my opinion, right? So to me, it's clear as day that you put the bait out there with this. Now we saw through this Bloomberg report, a new war zone of some kind, whatever that's going to look like. You put that bait out there. That's actually, according to Bloomberg, that's the last Call of Duty game that's multi-plat. So it's a great time to now rip the series from the rest of everyone else because they're like, well, you got this new Warzone thing that is going to be updated. And if you want more, come to Game Pass. And this is the thing is they are going to, I've been insisting this for a while. They are going to, hear me out, Jess. They're going to wield Game Pass and all the IP they got like a goddamn cudgel. And they are going to beat Jim Ryan over the head with it until he says, I'll put the app on my system because this is not the end of the road. Like they're going to keep, again, I said this at the start, like it's kind of crazy to say, but they're going to keep getting studios. They're going to keep getting IP. They're going to keep making deals. And it's going to make Game Pass more and more valuable until the point where PlayStation has to bend the knee and be like, all right, we're going to take this app in. I think it's going to Nintendo first. I think that's not really if, but when. And from there, you move it over to PlayStation and go, look, like we already got the infrastructure set up. Here's the cloud. Here's how it works. We're just going to bring this curated app over to you. Like they're doing all of this to get onto PlayStation, in my opinion, because I know that that's not their direct competitor. They say publicly, they're afraid of the Amazon, the Apple, so on and so forth, the Google. But let's be honest, Xbox being head of the pack doesn't hurt them because from their perspective, they're like, yo, we lived through the worst of the worst. You'll be fine, PlayStation, if you're in second place. Like, don't worry. Just get in line. That's all. Like, they want PlayStation to be around. They don't need them to thrive.
yo, Jess, for video watchers, that is, hold on, put that back up, Jess. Put that.
I heard him like fiddle around while I was talking. I'm just like, he's going to hit me with something.
For audio listeners, it says Phil is a nice guy. Jess has written that up. It's hilarious.
Was it backwards?
No, it came out perfectly. I think Phil is a nice guy, but I also think that Phil is a businessman, and I do believe like this is where he's going to draw the line. He's going to say like, you know what, we're putting this here on our platform because there is just too much to gain there. Like I don't think the ultimate gain here when you look at Crash, Spyro, Tony Hawk, there's a lot of exciting stuff for a hardcore gamer, but Phil has gone on record. And his team have got on record saying, like, we want more family-friendly games. We also want more social, casual games. You just got the most casual one of them all, dude. Like, what do you not do? Like, they're going to lock that shit down, in my opinion.
And Maddie, not to interrupt you, but I know Jess about to go off. But like, and then it's the ultimate, this is where I'm with you. It's the ultimate bargaining chip. Because you can like, hey, we'll keep it multi-plat. What about this Game Pass on your console?
And how do you get stuff from them? Hey, I want a remake.
Yeah. And then negotiations start. And then if it falls through, you can say, hey, it was our desire to put it on there. It was our desire. But PlayStation don't want, they don't want nothing to do with us. So, hey. And then I know I'm going to give it to Jen. The last one I'll say is, this he was so nice, but say that after that Deathloop contract goes up, and that Ghostwire Tokyo contract goes up, and Elder Scrolls comes out, and Fallout, whatever. Like he nice, but he ain't that nice.
It's about timing, in my opinion. Like they're saying Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive because it's not going to be for another 3 fucking years. We see it. Like it like there's enough of a gap for people to get over it. Right now, there's not that. Once the deal is solidified, they know there's going to be more Call of Duties on PlayStation. Like they need that gap to let people just process it, which Call of Duty as an annual franchise won't have. But when it's being suggested by a lot of reports that it's not going to be annual, there's your time to grieve, mourn, and go enjoy Warzone while they work on the next exclusive.
What was it? 5 years to Elder Scrolls and like 12 years for another Fallout, Maddie? Is that right? Another 12 years from now, Fallout 5? If you think about it,
they need to make Vault. That's what I'm telling you. Name this development studio Vault. Have them work on Fallout games. Don't even get me started.
When you think about it, they got a lot of time to get Game Pass on PlayStation. They got all this year, all next year, right? They got 2 years to figure out a deal somehow to work out if that is viable. But I got a question I want to pose to you three here, right? Imagine in a hypothetical situation, every third-party publisher, except for, not including Nintendo and Sony, right? They went to Phil and be like, you can buy any of us for the same deal you got Activision for, so 45% stock value, right? You can buy any one of us, no questions asked, it'll get through, but once you buy one of us, you can never buy any of the other ones ever again. So you only can buy one. So Ubisoft, Activision, Take-Two, Warner Brothers, right? I personally think even with their choice of any other publisher, I think they still choose Activision all day and every day. Do you guys feel the same? Do you think that?
I think they glance at Take-Two. I think they look at Rockstar and what they got, and I think they look at the sports games that they got. I think there's something there for them, but I think you go Activision.
We let Jez stew long enough. I'll let Jez go.
Take-Two sucks.
What about Activision? Activision's terrible too.
No, Activision has Warcraft. That makes them better by default.
Bias.
Take-Two blows, man. What are they? The Shark Card Company? We don't need no Take-Two. How long have we waited? We didn't get a single Bioshock the whole gen. Whole gen, no Bioshock.
Now it's coming and we're seeing like job listings of multiplayer and immersive open worlds that are ever evolving. I swear, if they make the next Bioshock fucking service game, I'm going to jump out the window. Okay. Let's talk about old IP real quick, Jens, because we still have that to go through.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, right?
They're saying that they're looking at Guitar Hero, one of the greatest disappointments of Bobby Kotick's career, Skylanders getting ruined, nothing else, not threatening to murder a woman, just, Skylanders, Candy Crush socialization. But obviously, we're looking at the Crash, the Spyro, the Tony Hawk, the Singularity, the Prototype, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which I know is alive on Nintendo Switch, but there's a lot there for them to dig through. What I'll do is I'll pose the question, starting off with Cog. You got one choice, man. You got one pick to make. One old IP or game series, whatever, comes back. What are you choosing?
You're going to make me choose between two children of mine. So it comes down, you know how I feel with Raven, and you know how I feel with High Moon. Raven with the Marvel Ultimate Alliance series, and High Moon. Damn, that's tough. I think I gotta go. Damn, it's tough, bro. Because I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Like, I love Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Damn it, Daddy. I think I'm gonna have to go for now. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, because it fits the Game Pass format.
Yeah, co-op,
Marvel,
little popcorn.
Marvel, you get the license 4-player. That was one of the ones that really pissed me off that, Activision let kind of run out. But I will say, like I said, honorable mention to the G1 High Moon Studios games. I love those guys, Brian Tigg and those guys. And I would hope that they get a chance to, whether it be licensing or just be able to work on projects again, because those guys understood what Transformers made. They didn't do the typical movie tie-in money grab garbage that I've been as a G1 Transformers guy, like that upsets me to the core. When you just see a movie and Michael Bay explosions and you don't even care about the history, the lineage of these robots that I love. Like, I want Transformers, you know what I'm saying? The essence of it. And once I knew they had Peter Cullen for Optimus Prime and Frank Walker, I was like, okay, they're paying respect. This is gonna be golden. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. But for me, selfishly, but I'm curious the IPs that you guys want, that you guys care about that hopefully revived anything that you're looking at.
Jez, let's hear from you.
Well, the first PC game I ever played was a game called Blackthorn, which I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it here. I know Mr. Matty Players probably wasn't born at this point.
That's why I was checking out the release date.
So
it says 2011. No, this is a movie. I'm sorry. Sam Shepard, Blackthorn. Hold on. I'll keep going. Please.
Blackthorn came out in...
I was not born.
1994.
94. Blizzard.
For MS-DOS.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a side-scrolling shooter, basically. RPG by Blizzard, funnily enough. And it was the first PC game I ever played. And I was like, oh my God, this game has blood in it. Up until that point, I'd played like Sonic and Alex Kidd with little cartoon creatures. And I was like, I don't know, how old was I in 1994? 8, I think. 8. And I played Blackthorn. I was like, oh my God, there's blood in this game. I love it. Every game should have blood and guts. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, that was Blackthorn. I think Blackthorn could be a cool for like, if they give it to like the id Software or something like that, it could be an interesting game to revive. Also, Hexen would be a great game to give to id Software or Machine Games. Hexen's kind of like Doom, but you're a wizard and you fight demons with magic powers, and it's very violent and also full of blood. But also a more recent game, I really want to see Heroes of the Storm rise to be a true challenger to League of Legends. Like Heroes of the Storm is a MOBA. It's the only MOBA I've ever enjoyed except Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite is hyper casual. Like it's a brain. Pokemon Unite is a brain dead MOBA, but it's like fun in short bursts. Heroes of the Storm sort of sits in between them. It's not as complex as League of Legends, and I think it's a bit more accessible. And because it's not as complex, maybe it didn't sort of get the same kind of traction League of Legends did. But I really enjoyed Heroes of the Storm, and I was always thinking, man, this would be great on console. There's pretty much no, fixed camera perspective MOBAs on console. We got Smite, but that's it. I think Heroes of the Storm would find a new audience on console if they brought that to Xbox. And Heroes of the Storm players would hate me suggesting this because they hate non-Blizzard characters being in that game. But screw it, man. Put Master Chief in it. Put like Killer Instinct characters in it. Make it Microsoft's like Smash Bros, man. It's the only way this game's going to grow is if you like bring in players from outside of Blizzard games. And I love it, and I want to see it. I want to see it come back. But those are my picks: Hexen, Heroes, and Blackthorn.
All right, Rand, let's dish it to you now, man. You got one choice.
COG took Transformers from me. I love the Transformers games, right? So I was thinking of two. One is realistic and one is kind of fantasy, right? So what I would like to see Geometry Wars come back. I love the Geometry Wars games, right? But a fantasy, and this will never happen, but it's just wish list. I want to see Microsoft take Gun and turn it into their Red Dead Redemption.
Remember Gun?
Gun? What is this?
360 launch lineup type game. Western.
It's a Western, Turn it into their Red Dead Redemption. It's called Gun,
Early 360 era.
That's hard to Google because of the name. Who is it made by? Activision? Just Activision or something?
I mean, it's published by Activision. I don't know.
Just put like Xbox 360 Gun. It should come up.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Geometry Wars is incredible.
Beanox and Neversoft. And Rebellion. Rebellion did the PSP port of Gun. That's really random. It looks interesting. Who knows, man? Maybe you'll get your wish.
Hopefully. I would pick, personally, them to start reviving some X-Men games. This comes from a ton of developers, most notably Raven Software. So, that's a studio that Xbox immediately has to just let off the leash. Like, they just have to let them do whatever they want because they're still, like, I thought the Black Ops Cold War campaign showed they're still really talented over there. But they made X-Men Wolverines or X-Men Origins Wolverine, They worked on the X-Men Legends games that were precursors to Ultimate
Classics.
Alliance,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They've worked on Singularity, but their X-Men games were so good. And I know it's sort of silly to say that when we've got Marvel working with PlayStation on Wolverine, but I mean, you got the guys who I thought were doing it right way before Insomniac came into the picture as like a top tier superhero game developer. So if they could swing something like that, I would be ecstatic. Like I also think of X2, Wolverine's Revenge, like just the Wolverine games in general were so good,
classics.
but like just X-Men across the board. Like they had X-Men Destiny was one. I forgot who developed that, but X-Men Destiny was a game where
That
you
was oh god, who was that? That was the guy who did Eternal Darkness.
let me check here. Hold on. It was Silicon Knights.
Silicon Knights, Too
Oh,
Human.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, Silicon
X-Men
Knights.
Destiny was garbage.
I thought it was a kind of cool idea, but I get what you're saying. A lot of people didn't like it. I like the idea of like you choosing your school, your path, kind of like what Hogwarts Legacy is rumored to be doing, but like with X-Men, I think would be awesome. What I'm really looking for more than anything, though, this is sort of my hope and prayer, is for Activision to be the conduit to reactivating some type of relationship with Marvel or any pop culture IP, because me and Cog have hammered Xbox for that, and I just want to see something like that.
Jez, no.
Yeah, Jez rattles with anything that comes out of my mouth lately. So
why can't we have it, Jez?
why can't we have Marvel, Jez?
Comic book games are for nerds, man. Let's leave that stuff out.
I'm sitting here with a New Vegas beanie. I'm wearing a Swoop Racer shirt. I'm perfect. I'm the perfect target.
Jez's whole thing is that Xbox doesn't want to license anything. So that's why, like them doing like X-Men, nope, because it's licensing and they don't want to license stuff. That's his whole...
No. It's not. It's because I think superheroes suck.
God.
Jesus.
Red, how you deal with this man?
I don't know. That's enough of you, right?
You can have prototype. We don't need no spandex wearing dudes. Leave that out, man.
That was on my list. Prototype would be a good pseudo superhero game, but like I'm just saying, figure something out with that. Finally address the superhero games that are missing. Star Wars, I don't know, man, just figure something out on that. All right.
Star Wars is cool.
Oh, Star Wars is
not nerdy at all. It's not nerdy at all, Star Wars.
Not nerdy at all.
Comic books is nerdy though.
I think Star Wars is personally way nerdier than comic books. I don't know. Just anything with comic book geeks is just fucking nerdy, man. Like I remember when they announced this WandaVision spin-off show, and I tweeted like, not every show needs to have a set of shows afterwards. But like, all these spin-offs. And there were some comic book nerds that were like, you tell this guy hasn't read issue 4. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
That's like you haven't read it.
Yeah, it's like number one, I do read comics, but number two, it's like I like you don't have to read the comics to appreciate the minute character spin-offs that go on for like 3 episodes. It's fucking unnecessary. I could go on, but I won't. Let's move on to number 2, gents, because this one really, really, really excites me. What's this? Did the Dukes, with the combination of a Patreon write-in, manage to will a game into existence? Indeed, this seems to be the case. Reported on the Xbox Era podcast, there is another game underneath the Xbox brand to get the Master Chief Collection treatment. In response was none other than Tom Warren, who has had his name attached to a multitude of accurate Xbox rumors, such as Halo Infinite's multiplayer releasing early. He says, quote, "The gears are really turning on this rumor," end quote. While Gears of War was remastered with the Ultimate Edition in 2015, a large majority of the series remains left behind on Xbox 360. Last we heard from the Coalition, they announced that they are working on Unreal Engine 5 and that it may be some time before we see something from them. A collection of Gears games would serve as the perfect stopgap for them to satiate fans looking for more and reinvigorate some of the best multiplayer experiences the 360 generation offered. Sean Gallagher writes in, "Greetings, Mad Matt and Coalition of Ordered Governments, aka COG. Well, Maddie, the day is approaching. Looks like we might be getting a Gears of War collection, designed in the style of MCC. On that day, Maddie, you're going to find out how wrong you are about your love for Gears 2. When it launched, it felt like Marcus, or whoever you are controlling, is running around in quicksand. Now we get to experience that sweet, sweet 120 FPS. I'm a Gears 1 acolyte and prefer its movement speed. Jokes aside, the prospect of Gears 1, 2, and 3 in a collection designed similarly to the way MCC is right now is honestly needed to some respect. Ultimate Edition isn't cross-play / cross-progression with PC, and its player numbers are almost nothing. 360 servers are off, so 2 and 3's multiplayer and Horde can only be played locally. This collection brings a lot of stuff back in an online, meaningful way under a single roof. Being a Gears fan with the same multiplayer squad since 2006, this is great. Thanks, you guys. Keep up the great work. Have one of those, I just got wall bounced again kind of days. All right. I want to shout out Sean just because I didn't know about this news until I read this comment, which is why your write-ins on this show are super important. Jez, I want to start with you, man, because you seem to just know everything that's happening with Microsoft. You have an idea. Something's kicking around to the point where, like, Jez, I got to be honest, I've noticed some employees across many studios, like, I'm surprised you didn't know about the Activision acquisition. So I want to just kick it to you real quick on some insight. Do you know anything about this? Have you heard about a Gears of War collection?
All I know is that the Coalition is working on 2 projects as of last summer. So presumably one of the, and I know it wasn't the Matrix thing. So presumably one of those is Gears 6. Maybe the other one is a Coalition Phoenix collection, which people have been asking for ages. And your commenter, what do you call it? I was going to say your reader, but you're not a blog. And then I was going to say your writer, but that doesn't make sense. And I think I'm starting to get tired now. It's 1 a.m. here. Yeah, your patron. That's it. Rand, where's our Patreon? You were going to make
I don't
one,
know.
Rand.
Should we make one? I don't
Do it.
Not too bad. You're too busy collecting that Manscaped money.
I mean, are they not legit though? Let's be real. Like, it's an easy promotion after using it. Not to get all TMI, but anyway, Jez,
but
talk a little bit about these projects they're working on.
Yeah, I know they're working on 2 projects. We presume one is Gears 6. There's been rumors of. There was all sorts of weird rumors attached to the Coalition. There was a weird rumor they were working on a Star Wars game, which we don't think to be true now. And there's a rumor they're working on a new IP, but maybe they're working on the Phoenix collection. The Coalition's a big studio. They got like hundreds and hundreds of employees, and one has to assume that maybe a remaster of those games wouldn't necessarily take up the whole studio's time. So maybe they're getting like a support studio to port some of these games. And, I think it makes sense from like what your commenter, your Patreon, whatever, said. He said, your Patreon, what he said.
Patron.
It makes sense from the sense that a lot of the servers are dead for these games. And like I said on a midweek mix-up podcast earlier, which is another podcast I did earlier, I said that they a lot of games nowadays do this thing where they have like one UI and you can jump from the UI of one game back into an older game, and that's like a new API thing they've added to this gen of consoles, I think, or maybe they added last gen as well. Hitman does this where you can play Hitman 1, 2, or 3 with the same client. Call of Duty does this where you can jump back into Black Ops Cold War or wherever it was called. I lose track of the million Call of Duties that release every 5 seconds. And you can jump across all these games in one UI. And I think it made sense for the Master Chief Collection, which is a big project and it took a long time to execute. But I think like Gears of War would potentially be an easier project because it's all 1 or 2 engines, like Unreal 3 and Unreal 4, I believe. And if they do like every single game, or maybe just the first 3 into one collection with like one collective server infrastructure where you can jump into all those maps, the DLC maps in one place, I think it'd be a great way to preserve the Gears legacy, especially if like Gears 6 is the last one we get for a long time, which Rand strongly advocates for.
Yes, very strongly advocates for it. Yes,
I would agree.
Bad man. He's a bad man. He's a bad man, that Rand.
That's what happens when your franchise isn't as big as Halo. Put it on the shelf.
These two are messy with this. That Halo versus Gears is big. It's big between those two.
I didn't see anything about Gears of War having 20 million players in 2 months. Did you? I sure.
Messy.
I didn't even see. I mean, Gears doesn't have as many players as a car game, for Christ's sake.
Was a what game?
Look, give it a second chance. Give it a second chance. I think with this collection, it'll turn some heads. I think that is the goal here, right? Because I think Halo Infinite did so well because you had something like Master Chief where you could hop in and experience like all these different Halo games and get like a good idea of what Halo is before Infinite actually rolled around. And it was on all platforms, where like Gears, as Sean wrote in, it's split up in a million different ways where could it have ever gained that player base? Did it really stand a chance, Red? I don't think so. I don't think it's
So I guess if we're looking at franchises that could have an MCC potential, there's two that come to mind. One is Gears of War and one is Fable.
Fable, yeah.
Right? We got Fable, presumably. I think Fable by Playground Games is coming in 2024. Right?
2024. Wow. Okay.
So write it down, y'all. Write it down.
I don't think it's coming. I think it's not. I don't think it's coming next year. I don't even think we see it this year, Maddie.
Oh, I was like having that
hard.
marked on my predictions. Like that was when I did all those, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but I like stamped shit out on like a piece of paper on like what I was saying like is for sure happening. Like for me, I was already planning to do that again this year, and absolutely I was doing Fable. I was like stamping the shit out of it.
That's just my personal opinion. I think Fable's 2024. And maybe you show it again with another trailer, but maybe not. But either way, like, so you could do a Fable with Fable 1, 2, and 3 in 2023, right? Leading up to the release. And they did have that mysterious tweet a few months ago where like, the one account there was like, this is someone called it the Fable anniversary and all that stuff. And everyone was like, what is this? Right. So
he deleted it and pretended it never happened.
But I guess, Gears probably makes more sense. You could put Gears 1, 2, and 3 plus Judgment into the collection. And like just as you prefer the legacy, because Gears 5 didn't do well on PC, mainly because like I think because most of the Gears games aren't really on PC. I think it was just 1 was on PC, and 2 and 3 and Judgment never were. So you essentially, you remaster these games and you put them out on PC and release them. And if you think about like where Xbox is with the Coalition, where Jeff Grubb has kind of reported that they're working on a new IP and that it's going to release first ahead of Gears 6. That if you're taking I remember the Coalition said that they're not going to announce anything for a while, right? They had that whole post.
Yeah.
And if Gears 6 isn't coming out for a bit, maybe you do release this Gears collection in the meantime, and you probably just have a support studio do it. Like you don't have, like the Coalition wouldn't do it. Like 343 didn't do Master Chief Collection. Someone else did that. So, or at least parts of it.
And we've seen with Gears Tactics, they have no issue like handing off the IP, right? Like they trust others.
So yeah, I mean, I think
Fallout.
I can't really think. Well, there you go. You know what, Maddie? That was another thing I was thinking of.
Oh, don't even go there, please.
To do a Fallout collection. Because we talked about we talked about Fallout 5 coming about 20 years from now, right? And now you own Bethesda, so what if you put out a Fallout collection, bro?
I mean, that would be a brilliant fucking idea. I hope that they do it. They just won't, though. They won't do anything with it. It's killing me, man.
I feel you, bro.
What are you talking about? Fallout 76 gets plenty of content.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I try not to disrespect 76 too much. I know there's a lot of players who like it. Cog, let's talk to you, man. Like, how are you feeling about the man himself, Cog? Right? I know it's not intentional, but
I was thinking about it. I'm like kind of destined to be an Xbox fan.
Yeah,
it existed on my birthday, right? It was literally born on my birthday. It debuted in New York, and my handle in gaming is Cog.
Have you watched Loki at all? With the sacred timeline and stuff.
Yeah, it's like the sacred timeline.
Yeah, this is your sacred timeline. Like, there was no changing it whatsoever.
Like,
no matter how many timelines.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how was I not gonna Microsoft and Xbox at some point? It's ridiculous. Like, I just thought about it. But anyway, I digress. Look, this is great because 2015, first E3, and I remember when this was, I got a chance to meet Rod Ferguson. He played the game with me, Gears Ultimate Edition. Right. And I'm like, wow, they remastered it. It's so cool. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to give you the rest on back compat. And to me, like that disparity after playing Ultimate and the 60 frames and how great it looked. And then I'm like, all right. And then for me, I'm a huge Horde fan. Horde, like I love Gears Horde. So I would love to see that come back. Rand just made me remember about Judgment. And I know it's not like the most favorite one, but didn't they, Jazz, or correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they have like a system about Judgment where like the gameplay was kind of dynamic or something? There was some system in it that they were trying to debut.
They took the Horde mode and turned it into like almost missions, if I remember.
But not even a Horde mode. Oh wow!
Played it.
Such a Gears fan, never played it. Wow.
Oh, that was a shot. That was a shot. I like that.
Me, I'm such a Halo fan, but I didn't play ODST or Reach. Wow.
Slam.
I mean,
I haven't
I
played
don't think
Reach
you're missing
either,
much on,
actually.
on. Yeah, you're not missing much. Sorry. Continue.
Excuse me?
Nah. Oh, damn. I will let y'all go.
Did you say you're not mentioning much on Reach?
Nah. Play ODST, Jez. You're fine. You're fine.
Slander. Anyway, after the Dukes and the two finished being messy. Oh, yeah, like I think that it's a series that probably wasn't appreciated enough, and I would love to see it just come back with the treatment and stuff like that. But I think Rand is on fire with the fact that it makes sense for the coalition, especially with Unreal Engine 5, right? To get that familiarity, even if it's a support studio and as a precursor to the eventual Gears 6 that comes later down the road. So yeah, I would like it. It makes sense to me. I mean, the community's been wanting this for the longest. I mean, I used to see the blog, where's the Marcus Phoenix collection, bro? What's going
Remember
on?
when they
Like,
teased the season of Gears 5 and it was like the same, it was like for Gears 2 content and everyone was like flipping out thinking that it was a remaster. So I think there's hype there, just looming.
This is one of those moments that I talked about, Maddie, where sometimes I used to get mad at Xbox. It's like, yo, your community wants this. Like, what's going on? I always tell you, like, Sony and Nintendo always do a better job of that fan service and that one last thing. This is one of those moments. People do want this. So it makes sense. And I can't imagine I'm not a developer, from an asset standpoint, how difficult could it be to, you already have that you're completely doing everything from the ground up. So yeah, I would like it. I would like to see those games come back in a big kind of a package deal. But Maddie, what are you feeling?
Oh, I'm hyped. I think this is great because, I think I just got to learn to not do these series playthrough until Xbox finally either decides to shit or get off the pot, because I just replayed all of Gears at the start of last year. And yeah, I remember I had like COVID, so we were just grinding out co-op and it was a lot of fun. But like Cog so eloquently put, the drop off after Ultimate Edition, you feel it. And then you come back up for some air with 4, and then 5 is beautiful, of course, especially on Series X. But yeah, they really need to touch these games up. I think the multiplayer base is just way too scattered. I always think back to when I was in middle school. Thoughts, gents? I was playing Gears 2 and 3 in middle school.
So last year.
Yeah. Yeah, last year, all I was hearing was, you gotta try out this Gears 2 and 3 multiplayer, right? It was that and Halo 3. Like, they were standing shoulder to shoulder. And so I feel like a lot of people have forgotten that, because Halo kept going. It got the focus. It got the MCC. It got some negative attention with Halo 5, of course. I feel like people forgot Gears was there, man. Like, it was a movement. The chainsaw battles, the wall bouncing, like, it had its own things that defined it outside of just, I thought, a pretty good story. So I feel like this makes too much sense for them to do, to satiate Gears fans while they can take their time on a Gears 6, because I always say that, the smartest thing that 343 did was calling in the coalition and getting some help on Halo Infinite, because I feel like some of the coalition culture seeped into what 343 does now. Coalition, I felt they did a good job inheriting a series, carrying the torch, taking things further with their own creative decisions. And 343 could have stood to learn a lot from that. And I feel like now they finally have. So give Coalition the time they can, give fans something to enjoy and be reminded of how great Gears is. And just like, with Halo MCC, not all those games we enjoyed there were there day one, right? Like ODST and Reach came later, right? So maybe you add Judgment. I don't know if that's a hype addition for a lot of people, but maybe you add Judgment later. Maybe you add 4 later and you just start off with the original trilogy. Like, it doesn't have to be the whole entire collection, as great as that would be. So I think this is a really smart move that they should 100% move forward with. It feels so long overdue.
Yeah. And last point, I think Rand is also right with the PC port, just for the PC community having those games as well.
Absolutely.
They'll get some good revenue.
Yeah, it's so scattered everywhere. So this makes too much sense in my opinion. Let's move on to number 3. I'm really curious to get Jez's thoughts on this, because I saw some tweets. Blizzard has announced a brand new universe, marking it as a potential exclusive in the eyes of many Xbox and PC players. The announcement arrives via a blog post where Blizzard writes, quote, "We are going on a journey to a whole new universe, home to a brand new survival game for PC and console. A place full of heroes we have yet to meet, stories yet to be told, and adventures yet to be lived. A vast realm of possibility waiting to be explored. Every story needs a teller, and every world needs builders. What if that could be you? For 30 years, Blizzard has been creating universes for millions of players around the globe. This requires a diverse team of developers willing to lend their voices, to listen, and to be heard. That is our mission. Do you like survival games? Do you want to join a collaborative team of experienced developers at the early stages of a new project in a new world and help write the next chapter of Blizzard's story, end quote. Ladies writes in, hey there, Dukes. So Blizzard just confirmed that the next project they're working on is a survival game. While the concept art looked cool, I can't help but feel that their talents would be better served elsewhere. Don't get me wrong, I love the new IPs, but the survival genre is incredibly stale and saturated. And I don't really know what Blizzard can do to stand out. Wonder what you boys think. Jez, I wanted to kick it to you because when the announcement happened, you said in all caps, oh my God. Was it hype? Was it disappointment, devastation? What are you feeling about this announcement?
Well, it's funny because I tweeted that out because one of the things I do, and I really need to do this less, is I tweet without thinking about it. I just tweet the first thing that comes to mind because my North Star has always been just be your real 100% truthful, honest self. And, because people, you could smell fake from a mile away.
Yeah.
At least I seem to be able to. But so I always try to be my true, honest self. So I tweet the first things that comes to mind, which gets me in trouble sometimes. But
yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. So I tweeted, oh my God. And then I sat there and realized, oh my God, I'm actually excited for the future of Blizzard because if this announcement had happened like a couple of months ago, I would have been like, oh great, it's just more fail Kotick. I don't call him Bobby, I call him Robert Kotick. Let's not call him Bobby. That humanizes him. His name's Robert Kotick of Activision fame. Robert Kotick, like, I have no optimism for any Blizzard title under Robert Kotick, he who cut corners and released Warcraft 3 Reforged in the state that it was released in, deserves no optimism from me, friends. But because of the acquisition, I was like, oh my God, I can actually get excited about what this potentially could look like. And, I like my survival games. I like my games with mechanics like base building and hunger and thirst, which me and Rand have also gone back and forth on. Because Rand doesn't like games with hunger and thirst and building.
Wait, Rand, you don't like Fallout?
Rand likes simple experiences like walking simulators, and he's a big fan.
If it has a good story, sure.
Rand, you'd love Superliminal.
Yeah, good.
It's perfect
story.
for you.
I'm just saying, why would I want to be worried about finding something to eat and drink in a video game? Come on now.
Because Rand, it connects something. It connects with your DNA, and it sort of brings you back to the caveman era.
I feel like
gatherers.
Rand should appreciate because he lives in a Microsoft suite, right? So like to get in touch with the survivalist side of things, live off the land, like it's a life he's not familiar with anymore. So I feel like you'd love survival games, Rand.
Yeah.
Can't stand them.
I was so gassed when they announced like the survival modes for Skyrim and Fallout. I was like, yeah, they made it even more survivally. I'm gonna play the hunger meter in Skyrim, and then like, oh my God, now we're adding fishing. It's like, yes, that's exactly what it needs.
Yeah,
and you just know that. Yeah, this Blizzard game's gonna have fishing in it. I think what this says is like Blizzard's they've literally looked at Valheim probably and thought, we could do this, but bigger budget. Let's just do this, but bigger budget. And I like that idea a lot. But I wouldn't have liked it before this acquisition because I know Kotick, Robert, would have flubbed it because that's his MO. That's his MO. He's flubbing my games.
How they call him by his government like that?
That's his name.
On Xbox,
that'll be his name on his mugshot. It won't say Bobby Kotick. It'll say Robert Kotick mugshot. It's a New York State Penitentiary or something.
So you're gonna write something down on a pad that says Robert Kotick is not a nice guy?
That's a good idea. You got to balance out the background.
I mean,
I put the pen in the drawer now.
Oh.
Oh, the horror.
Did you said on Xbox 2 last week that you knew of some unannounced games from Blizzard. Was this one of them?
No. It wasn't.
Wow.
So the unannounced game from Blizzard, it was not this one that I know about. So I've heard they've got a strong roadmap from someone who wouldn't say that likely. So I'm pretty excited. I think like the last year, they've sort of, even before this acquisition, they were probably sitting there thinking like, we've got to really deliver to fix Blizzard's image. And they probably sat down and thought the next WoW expansion needs to be really good. Overwatch, we need to nail Overwatch 2. Diablo 4 needs to be great. And we need to greenlight some projects that people will actually really like, rather than the sort of cost cutting and the semi-fails they've had with Warcraft Reforged. Because Diablo 2 Resurrected has been really well received. And it was our biggest game last year for coverage. Diablo 2 Resurrected did insane traffic, more than Halo. It was huge for us.
Wow.
I mean, maybe that was because there was less SEO competition. I don't know, but it was a huge game. Like I think it's like, you got to remember as well, like Tencent owned Path of Exile, which Path of Exile was made by unhappy Diablo fans who wanted dark and gritty. They didn't like the rainbows in Diablo 3, which was a huge drama, by the way. You know, Diablo 3 had rainbows, and people were angry about it. Like, this isn't the grim dark Diablo I remember. And Blizzard was so like that Blizzard put unicorns in the game, like just to annoy people, trolling the meme of Diablo 3 having rainbows in it. But if you've seen Diablo 4, it's grim dark as fuck. It's like that cinematic Blizzard made, which is something, by the way, a lot of people forget. Is that with this acquisition, they get the world's best cinematic team in the world. Like the Diablo 4's cinematics. No, it's not Blur. It's Blizzard's in-house cinematics team made the Diablo 4 reveal trailer, which I think is some of the best CGI I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Absolutely mind-blowing. And that's like, okay, there's no more rainbows. Now there's death. Only death and more death. And so
dang it,
right. That's a lot.
Oh, I got him now. Let's go.
That's a long-winded way of saying I quite like the idea of a new Blizzard game.
Okay. Well, we know Rand doesn't. Rand,
no,
do you
I
have
don't.
any additional?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting that they announced it when they announced it, right? Right after the acquisition.
They say console.
They say console, but you know, in those terms, I mean, like let's be honest. This game is probably years away. Yeah. By the time it comes out, it's most likely going to be an Xbox exclusive, but obviously most likely PC first, right? Because that's what they want Blizzard for, to push the PC stuff. But I'll have to take a wait and see approach on the survival aspect. I do like Blizzard's games. I do like Diablo quite a bit. I did like Overwatch a lot when we were playing with my friends. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna ever play World of Warcraft. Not gonna happen, Jez. Doesn't matter if it comes to Xbox. I'll never play it.
Oh, I don't know, man. You got downloaded the Game Pass. Yeah, it's
bro.
Now Rand's on board when they come.
One click away.
No, not happening. Not happening.
King had a virtual wife in that game.
Wait, what? King?
Yes, King got so wrapped up in that game. Like he had like a real wife in the game. And they were buying gifts. And
this man and his bravado was getting.
Oh, bro, it's a story.
Was King a role player?
Yeah, he was hardcore.
Oh, man.
I stayed away from PC because I was scared of how the hooks of this game. I was scared. I was like, bro, I don't want to know what you and Solve are playing that has you spending real money and you have real relationships with people where they're making codes for you.
But see, here's the thing. I gotta ask
together.
Hold on, because I used to play a ton of RuneScape, and like getting in an e-relationship was the way to get free items. Like, I was a swindler, bro. I was not emotionally invested in you. It was like, I wanted the dragon dagger with the poison tip, and like, you were my conduit to that for cheap.
Bro.
Like, that's what I was doing.
King had those they were making him stuff, and it got deep. I was like, what is going on, bro? I was terrified of what World of Warcraft was. That's how, because of their relationship and how many hours they would spend in this game. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But Red, it Game Pass for one click.
No, not playing it. I don't care what it is. Not playing it. But I'll take a wait and see approach on what this survival game is, because Blizzard could nail it, and this could be the survival game that I might enjoy.
Okay.
But I do think it's interesting that it's announced now. Jason Schreier tweeted out that, for what it's worth, even disgruntled Blizzard employees rave about this game and team.
Really?
So there seems to be some hype behind it. Like
internally,
this is like a good team. The game might be pretty incredible. So I don't know. I mean, we're probably looking at like what 2026. You know, because these Blizzard takes a long time to make games. So
yeah, that's a fact.
So yeah.
I'll jump in. I wish, rest in peace, my brother Dizzy, man. If he heard about this, if he was around, he would be going crazy. He loves survival games. Like, he loved that hardcore, the Ark and the Conan Exiles. And I remember, I'm just like, I would have ran is just too much management for me. Like, I have to admit, though, Obsidian, who I was very mad at when they announced Grounded, I was like, "What are you doing? This is a waste." And then I played it. Then I'm like, "Okay, this is kind of survival for me. This is simple survival for Carl." And I'm like, "It got a charm to it." You know what I'm saying? So to Rand's point, because of who's behind it, I'm willing to at least look at it. But I think it's just too hardcore. Generally, those genres are just way too hardcore, way too much management, and I need things a little bit simplified. The most I could do is like a State of Decay, where it's like my ball, my bases, and we go have supplies and rations, and I go out and get that. But management on that crazy intricate scale, it's a little bit too much for me. But I don't know. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, for me, I hope that this, if there is internal hype, I should say, then I'm hoping that it's not just a fresh coat of paint, where I think even Grounded's guilty of this, and I like Grounded quite a bit, but it's the flavor, a different flavor, but still a survival game. Like, it still plays the same, feels the same, but instead you're like in the backyard, and I feel like that flavor goes a really long way in that genre. Like, it helps quite a bit.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that if they're internally excited, this means like they've got an idea of something to actually expand the genre that could bring a guy like Rand in. Because for me, I do like that micromanagement. I love just like getting in my inventory, like tweaking stuff, like min-maxing. To me, that I love doing that type of stuff in games. Managing items, creating like a village, an ecosystem. That's awesome to me. I just really enjoy that. So to me, it's got my attention. Am I hyped? No. I don't remember the last Blizzard game I really, really cared about outside of Overwatch. But
no Diablo? Wait, hold on, man. I never asked you this. No Diablo?
No, I like Diablo, but like I wasn't there for launch of any of those games. I played Diablo 2 late last year, and I was not really in love with it. I enjoyed Diablo 3 quite a bit, contrary to the
Diablo 2 to come to Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So, I just with these survival games, they're very, very hit or miss. I feel like they're more of if I'm in the mood to play it. So my hope is that it's not about being in the mood, but them presenting like new ideas, new forward-thinking ideas for the genre. And if they're doing that on a AAA level, it could be great. And of course, I imagine this will be multiplayer because Xbox Game Pass, they love that shit. So we'll see in due time.
I really hope it's got a creative slant, because Blizzard doesn't really have a game where you can be creative. And when Microsoft talks about metaverse, they often talk about creator economy kind of games, where Minecraft has like $1 million companies attached to it, and all the company does is build maps and mods for Minecraft. And that's the creator economy, and that's what Microsoft thinks of as the metaverse, is a game that companies can build for and make money with, like Roblox, but less exploitative of young children, hopefully. And I think this might be Blizzard's creator economy play, because they don't really have one yet. So, I think about like Fallout 4, where like I got about 350 hours in Fallout 4. A good 75% of that was making a base. Think like that, going around collecting all the cement, like finding all the screws I need, and I don't know why I should have just used console commands, really, thinking about it, but you can't do that. I also think like Minecraft, like I really wanted to build a village, but I wanted to build it in a weird place, far away from any village. So what I had to do was I had to get a zombie villager and lure him across the map, lock him in a room, and then make that potion, and then find a golden apple to convert him into a regular villager. Because it was the only way I could get a villager to my village. So that's the kind of, That's when I play survival games. It's the kind of shit I like to do. I like to break them, you know. And
I love it.
I hope it's got a creative slant to it.
Let's hope. That would be good for them. Let's move on to number 4 now. This is territory I think we can all enjoy. While there is a lot of optimism in EA relinquishing the Star Wars gaming deal, there's no denying the talent of one of their developers, Respawn Entertainment. Bringing us the likes of Titanfall, Apex Legends, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has broadcast on full display that this is a flexible team worthy of any challenge thrown its way. Indeed, they are now up to quite the task, as they've been tasked with not 1, not 2, but 3 Star Wars games to develop on top of their current task of maintaining Apex Legends. And also, I read that they're working on some unannounced projects. So that's 5 games that this one team is working on. Word comes by way of an Electronic Arts news blog, which states, quote, game director Stig Asmussen and his team at the studio are already working on the next game in the action-adventure Star Wars Jedi series and are joined by 2 new teams working to deliver additional unique Star Wars gameplay experiences across multiple genres. Leading the development of Respawn's all-new Star Wars first-person shooter is Peter Hirschman, game director at Respawn, who has a long and accomplished history with the Star Wars franchise. The third title is a Star Wars strategy game developed through a production collaboration with newly formed studio Bit Reactor, helmed by games industry veteran Greg I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Forstich, I'm going to say.
Forstich? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry, I usually don't have that issue.
I feel like an eye is missing.
Yeah, maybe. It was a copy and paste. Anyway, Respawn will produce the new Star Wars strategy game while Bit Reactor leads the development on the title. That's a lot of names and talent, so let's break it all down. Perhaps most exciting for turn-based King Cog is the involvement of Bit Reactor, a newly opened studio composed of former XCOM developers who are handling the Star Wars strategy title.
Oh, Jez.
Hell yeah. Peter Hirschman, responsible for directing the new Star Wars FPS, served as executive producer on the Star Wars Battlefront series. The blog post also states that the work has only just begun on said titles. Stig Asmussen not only directed the first Jedi Fallen Order game, but also God of War 3. These Star Wars games join a massive lineup of announced games from the franchise, such as Ubisoft's massive third-person Star Wars game, Aspire's Knights of the Old Republic remake, TT Games' Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Quantic Dream's Star Wars Eclipse, and Zynga's free-to-play Star Wars Hunters. So Lucas Arts Games, or whatever the hell they call themselves, Lucasfilm Games, has been getting around. Gents, I want to start with you, Cog. What are you feeling about Star Wars games, man? A little bit of XCOM flair coming to Star Wars?
Wow. All I cared about was one game on this list. No, that's a lie. Whatever Fallen Order 2, most likely is going to be announced Respawn. That I am interested in. That was the one that really got me into it. And now my peeps are over there. I believe my peeps are over there. That was from couple of my dads from 343 went over there. But look, this is very interesting how the only thing that's interesting to me is about how Respawn is entrusted with this. Like, that is very interesting to me. Like, the license, like, they are liking them. And I want to know how that relationship developed. Maybe just because of the success of Fallen Order. Maybe Jez and Rand can tell me. But that's the part that's interesting. But all God cares about that term. You said former XCOM. You mean the GOAT, the greatest of all time, XCOM developers on us. I'm all in. I'm going to be moving Boba Fett around the board, pissing Rand off. I'm going to be moving the Mandalorian. I'm going to be setting up my strategy. Let me go. I cannot wait. What? Oh, you get me all into the Star Wars universe then. Because I'm a casual guy. Like, Star Wars is cool, but I'm not like this super hardcore Star Wars guy. But you give me a nice little story in a turn base. So you got Cog now. I'm in.
Never crossed my mind, but I'm very excited about that. Let's hear from Jez. Jez, what are you feeling about these announced Star Wars games and the status of Respawn being so incredibly busy?
EA bad.
Oh.
EA bad. I can't get hyped for anything EA does. I can't.
Wow.
Because all their games are terrible these days. Like they had like Respawn is the one bright spot that exists in modern EA. Apex Legends, it's popular. It's not a game I'm into. Jedi Fallen Order is very, very good. But EA bad. EA bad. EA.
Oh my God.
EA bad. FIFA bad. Battlefield bad. Everything they do bad. So
right.
they shut down Visceral. Yeah, Battlefield dead. Battlefield dead. They exited the top 50 most played games on Xbox. Battlefield dead. Not just bad, but dead.
You're right.
My favorite shooter franchise, dead. Thanks to EA.
Oh yeah.
So
Is it EA's fault or is it DICE's fault though?
I think it's EA's fault. There's not a universe that exists that anyone at DICE was telling EA, we need operators. That's what Battlefield needs, operators. That was an EA exec playing Call of Duty and thinking, you know what this game needs? Operators. Because Call of Duty has operators. That's what this game needs. Morons. And because they're morons, I'm sorry, EA bad. I will not give them a single joule of my energy hype while they continue being bad. So I love XCOM. I love Star Wars.
Yes.
I like Jedi Fallen Order, but EA bad. So I'm gonna wait and see. Put that in a box. Forget about it.
But at least he said wait and see. That's big for Jess. Yeah. He said wait and see.
Important.
He didn't say complete. That's big for Jess.
Maybe they should have put Battlefield 2042 in a box and said, forget about it for another year. Make sports better.
I'll put it in a box and set it on fire, baby.
They could have just ate up that Game Pass deal that I was pitching constantly. Would have made me look foolish, but it would have maybe helped them out.
I don't think it's going to help Rainbow Six Siege Extraction.
It's interesting. Yeah. While we were doing the podcast, there's breaking news about Rainbow Six Extraction.
Let's hear it.
What's up?
They just announced 3 million players in 1 week.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, and introducing a buddy pass next week. If one person owns the game, you can send an invite to 2 others to play for free.
That to me immediately undercuts the numbers that we just learned, because all that says is, fuck, we need more people playing this game ASAP. I like the buddy pass system though. Shout out to Joseph Ferris for doing that whole thing.
I think Joseph Ferris for doing that. Mm-hmm.
Rand, what do you feel about these Star Wars games though?
I am psyched for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. I love the first game. It's one of my top games of, what was that, 2019? 19?
Yeah.
That game is so freaking good. It's better Dark Souls than Dark Souls.
Careful.
I know, right?
You're going to be mad at you.
It's incredible game. I hopefully they fix the map. Scrolling through the map to find stuff was a little tedious. But I am so psyched to play the sequel. And they talk about a shooter, right? Are we seeing the return of Star Wars Republic Commando? Like that would be really cool.
Stole the thing I wanted to dive into.
You had it on the list.
But dude, I am down.
No one wants to play as a stormtrooper. Come on,
what?
Dude. Everyone wants to play as
Republic Commando.
Screw that. Screw the Republic,
dude,
man.
A Star Wars squad-based shooter on modern tech. Just hear me out. Would be fucking incredible.
No.
It sure would.
Especially if it had the grit of Republic Commando, where you had a vibro blade in your knuckle and you're just punching faces off and the blood hits the visor. Like, dude, on modern tech, this game would be nuts. I hope they bring it back. I feel like that's what they got to be doing at this point. Like Imperial
Jazz hates heroes and Jazz hates
they brought back Battlefront. And how did that go?
Battlefront 2, I'm with you. Battlefront 1 was fucking atrocious. 2, actually, took some time, but got there.
Completely honestly, I played the hell out of Battlefront 2, so I don't know what I'm saying. I love Battlefront 2.
What are you, straw manning me here?
Yeah, kind of. I resent that they shut it down, actually, because I was really getting into it and thinking, man, they're putting a lot of work and effort and content into this. Yeah, it was like, by the way, no more content. Games.
Yep, they got me.
But just how big is Respawn? They're doing Apex Legends. They're doing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. They're doing this shooter, and they're doing this whatever XCOM-ish game, right? Like, how big are they? I guess this also means, like, the dreams of Titanfall 3 are
that's the
dead
byproduct.
And buried.
That's the byproduct. And that part I'm with Jez.
Yeah. But Respawn is an incredible developer. I can't wait. I mean, I don't think they've made anything, like, bad. Like, even before they built Respawn, when it was Vince, when he was in charge of Infinity Ward, like Infinity Ward was at the forefront of making incredible games.
18.
Like you're talking the group that basically changed multiplayer forever with Modern Warfare, right? Modern Warfare 2, 3. And I mean, they even started it with Medal of Honor. Like they started the whole thing with Medal of Honor before they founded Infinity Ward. So like, and they've given Vince like the keys to Battlefield, pretty much like,
How much can that guy do, though? Not to interrupt you, Ren.
Apparently everything.
How much? It reminds me of the Todd Howard effect. It's like they're just pulling this guy's brain in a million directions. It's like, at what point will his value sink because he's stretched so thin? I feel like the same thing with Vincent.
I am worried about being stretched thin, Matt.
But if
I am worried about that.
But if he can bring back, like, Battlefield 2042 is an unmitigated disaster. I think we all can agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you look on Steam, I think I saw the other day, it's like concurrent players were like 2,000, which is like, what? Right? Jez said, out of the top 50, the game is, 3 months old at this point? 2 months old? No, like 2 months old, right? Yeah. Already gone.
Wow. Yeah. 3.8K in the last 45 minutes. Continue.
Yeah, it's nobody expected this. And you're talking about one of the premier shooter franchise. Well, I guess Apex is now, but you're to go from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 and Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2, right? You felt like Battlefield was building up to compete with Call of Duty, right? They were finally going to get over the hump and they were going to compete. And then Battlefield 1 came out and was super popular. And then I was like, here comes Battlefield 5. And then they're like, we'll do better. We'll do better with Battlefield 2042. And they did even worse, right? So now this franchise is almost dead and buried. They're talking about free to play. Like, making this game free to play is going to do anything, right? It's not it's failing not because of the barriers to play it. It's failing because the game isn't good. So yeah, it might bump up player numbers for a week. It'll go back down. So
shame, because when that was announced, that was so exciting,
right? Everybody was so hyped, but Vince has like the ultimate task ahead of him. How do I resurrect essentially a dead franchise at this point? How do I bring back Battlefield to the top? And you got to figure it out, because when you look at like Call of Duty's on multi-platform for the next 2 years. After that, it could be Xbox only, and then there's a wide open field to essentially be the dominant shooter, simply because Call of Duty is no longer multi-platform, right? You look at Minecraft. Jez mentioned earlier how Minecraft is, there might be some regret from Xbox executives making it multi-platform. What would happen if you made it exclusive? Well, I would say if you made it exclusive, there would have been another game that would have came along, aped Minecraft, and would have dominated that field because it was multi-platform where Minecraft was exclusive. If Call of Duty goes exclusive, that opens up the field to basically another third-person or first-person shooter to be the dominant force. So you got some work to cut out for you, because Battlefield could have been that game. It could have competed with Call of Duty, and I'm incredibly sad to see the demise of the franchise that I love so dearly. Like I've always been a Battlefield guy over Call of Duty, and I think it's a joke that the franchise has basically been reduced to this.
You can say the same for COD too. COD's really been on the downslope for a number of years now, and so I think that's also why Halo is just enjoying such a strong resurgence. Not only because it was really good, but also because these
everything
other
else was shit.
Was just so bad. Yeah, there was just no good offerings on the first-person shooter front. So there is definitely a power vacuum there, and Xbox owns all of them now. Like, they can produce the next one in Doom, the next like great big multiplayer game. Maybe Doom can finally have multiplayer that doesn't suck. I don't know.
If the next one's not Quake,
right? Quake rumors. Forgot about
Overwatch 2, yay!
I'm actually looking forward to it. No, yeah, I want them to have a story though. Give me a narrative.
I mean, that was like 2017. When 2017, when I was super invested, that's when I was like, oh, give me an Overwatch story now, because they were telling me, go read the comics on your phone and shit. And I'm just like,
look at Jez.
Look at the hamster. Look at him. Look at his little face.
You don't know how many episodes of Xbox 2 we'd be doing, and he would be, because Jez is always playing games during Xbox 2. Always. You can hear him on the thumbsticks, like playing nonstop.
And literally
the game that he was always playing was Overwatch. He would be playing that nonstop.
How do you do that? Because you don't sound preoccupied. And for me, if I get a Discord notification mid-sentence, my brain's just like, we're off. Like, oh shit. Figure out what you're about to say. Don't read that. But meanwhile, you're playing games and talking on a podcast. That's fucking unreal. I could never.
The reason why is because I play Hammond. And you just roll around. You don't have to aim. You just roll around in a ball and kill everyone. It's easy, man.
Anything you guys want to say more on what's going on with the Star Wars franchise and gaming?
Yeah, bad. That's
Okay.
Respawn got the keys.
It is in stone, EA bad. Let's move on to our last bit of news here. The long in development LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga finally has a new set release date after showing off an awesome looking gameplay trailer now available to everyone. The game is set to be released April 5th, 2022. However, the celebration was cut short for many as a new write-up from Polygon details the extensive crunch at TT Games. Writer Jack Yarwood tells the story of 30 current and former TT Games employees opening up on their frustrations with crunch culture and tight development schedules. The article cites multiple people outside the studio breaking down because of the workload they were tasked with, and thus donning the term PTTSD. At the heart of the problem was an engine switch that multiple staffers reportedly warned management against and noted that any longer time frame given for development did not make much of a difference. Management refused to switch to something like Unreal Engine as the licensing costs were unappealing to them. This is said to date back to 2005, where TT Games' early decision to churn out annual LEGO games resulted in the crunch culture being a problem persisting even to this day. Shockingly, the article also notes that leads such as John Burton would follow employees leaving work on time to the exit of the studio, questioning their loyalty and dedication to the project with vague threats in tow. All of these deadlines were dictated by the films that they followed, as many of us had expected. Following Warner Bros. Acquiring TT Games, an internal survey showed low satisfaction results from the studio, where changes were ultimately pledged to be made in 2008, and that never arrived. It is said that to this date, even new management brought the overtime as expected mentality with them. Detailed by two employees who spent 20 plus years with the company is a flexitime system. Quote, employees could exchange overtime hours worked for extra pay or days off, while flexitime hours could be exchanged only for late starts or extra holiday. Flexitime also has a 40-hour cap, according to staffers. This meant that employees could hit the limit and not get any benefits for hours that they were putting in beyond it, if there was still work that they needed to stay behind and finish, end quote. TT Games is said to have had issues with bullying and even gender pay gap issues, much like what we have read recently about Activision Blizzard. Around 2018, this led the company to after 2018, this led to a company-wide meeting split into two groups where, again, feedback is collected on the status of the studio. Most of it was said to be bad, and little was good. But Tom Stone, managing director at TT Games, supplied a comment of his own that disagrees. Quote, I noticed toward the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018, I definitely felt things were not right. I can tell you now, I had no reports of bullying. No one ever came to me and said, I have been bullied, or I have been discriminated against, or I have been picked on. No one ever said that. People said it's tough working here, we work long hours, and people don't communicate with us. But also, to give it balance, we had plenty of people, even the same people, say, I absolutely love being here and I love working on LEGO games. I said that I wanted to know everything that was going on, and I just didn't know, or I didn't want to be just about, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. I wanted them to say, well, why do you come to work? What inspires you? How do you feel about making LEGO games? What do you think about the environment? What do you think about the atmosphere of the office? How are all of you? It was that, end quote. Now, TT Games is hard at work wrapping up what is called their biggest project yet. There has been a lot of redesigns within the game, and feature creep is suggested to be the reason behind the game's nigh 5-year development time, a stark contrast from the annual releases that we saw from the team. Since the start of 2021, 40 employees have left TT Games and its QA testing counterpart, TT Fusion. To start the new year, the article notes potential steps forward. Multiple sources close to the company say TT will no longer be using the NTT engine on future projects, finally agreeing to switch to Unreal Engine, which some view as a potential step forward. Current employees also say that in the last few months, the company has started to pay closer attention to and limiting the amount of overtime that staff can work. All right, gents. So LEGO Star Wars is looking great, but it doesn't look like there's much good happening within the studio at TT Games. Cog, I want to start with you. Any thoughts on what's happening internally at TT Games?
I didn't even know about this, to be honest. I'm glad you brought this. I had no idea what was going on. This was completely news to me. The only thing I took from it, that whole flexitime thing was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird. Yeah. My main takeaway as a person who's followed the drama at BioWare with Anthem is I always find interesting when there's pushback because people don't want to use like a easier engine, or sometimes try to bring in a proprietary engine to save money on cost. And again, I don't know the situation in there, but I always find that when there's pushback and people are like, hey man, we can't stand this, like we really prefer to use this, and maybe the higher ups are kind of forcing that I always find interesting in development. That is like, how can you not work with your team to make life easier? Maybe that's when the boardroom just says, yo, this is what we're doing. We're not going with Unreal. I just find that stuff very interesting. So yeah, all this was news to me. I don't know what to think about this whole, like I said, it just seems like a disparity, like such a big disparity between what this guy's saying and then the employees that's left. And we gotta watch it. And I just, all I think about is the last thing I'll say is, all I think about is the word unionization is starting to get a little louder. The squeaks, it went from a squeak to maybe a little louder with little situations like this. And I'm curious to see if the industry goes that way.
Yeah, I am too. Because I do wonder with these games that really try to push their own limits. I think of Dying Light 2 as an example where you look at how many different things it was doing when we saw it compared to its original launch, where the first game, was parkour, open world, zombie game with a lot of systems from the Dead Island games. And then you see with Dying Light 2, it's like there's choices, there's city shaping decisions that are in these trailers. You're seeing tons of activities. Like, it's a do everything kind of game. Same kind of feeling I got with Lego Star Wars. You look at the older games, it's like, okay, one button combat, hold circle or B to build, pseudo open world, you get your power bricks. It was a template. And then suddenly they take 5 years and they start to add what looked like DMC level combat, third person shooting, open world areas, like a do everything kind of game. And I'm just wondering, and some people are going to think I'm advocating for crunch when I say this, but I'm not. Is this the only way forward when you try to make a game bigger than it really should be? Because we saw feature creep eat up Halo. We've seen it eat up a ton of games as games get bigger, more complicated, more expensive, harder to hit the reverse on compared to previous generations. Is this the only way you get these big generation-defining titles? I feel like the question just has to be asked because you see this constantly with these games that are doing a lot of things that are making consumers happy. Is it's at the cost of people who are busting their ass and not in a healthy way. I think of, I mean this with no disrespect, but I think of a game that appeared on Game Pass called I think Backbone was what it was. And you're like this raccoon detective. And their company posted a whole thread on Twitter saying, like, we're a people first company. Like, we work 4 days a week. We give like 3 months off of paid time. They list all these things where I'm just like, well, that's good. But like, how often do you actually release a game then? Like, how sustainable is your business? And that question has to be asked, where we're in a really interesting position as an industry where like people want to take care of themselves and then make the super big ambitious games. And it's like, at this moment, we can't really have both. There's a cut that has to be made somewhere. So it's just something that's been rattling around in my head. And again, reading this, it was almost like deja vu. But let me kick it to Jez, because I got to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll still hear you guys while I'm in the bathroom. Jez, what are you feeling about everything here with TT Games, their status as a studio, and of course Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga? Fire away.
I've never played a Lego game, except Halo, of course.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Here we go.
Nah, I've never played a Lego game. So like, I don't have like a passion towards Lego games. I buy Lego. I'm pretty fan of Lego actually. But I've never played a Lego game. I think maybe when they started coming out, I was already like quite old and bitter and jaded and liked violent games, and I always just saw them as kids games. So I know Mr. Matty is not here, but he's like, he's still in high school or whatever, so he's probably still a big fan of those kind of games. But,
middle school logic, correct?
But yeah. So I suppose it's interesting what the story really is like, pertains to the culture of the studio and stuff like that. Warner Brothers Games, like, they don't seem to be the most productive publisher out there. Like, when did Shadow of Mordor come out? Like 50,000 years ago?
2017.
Shadow of War. And then what's Rocksteady been doing for the last God knows how many years?
They released Arkham Knight in 2015.
Damn.
That's a long time ago, So, like, you have to wonder, like, what's been going on behind the scenes, you know.
Agreed.
And the thing that I often struggle with these kind of stories, and you know, part of it is because like I'm not a trained journalist, you know, and I honestly don't know how they put these stories together. Where it's like you have to speak to loads of different sources, but then it's kind of like how do you know if someone's like fully telling the truth, or they're not jaded and bitter and they've got an axe to grind, or how do you know like an exec's not like bending the truth and trying to cover things up? And it's like,
think the writers
how do you get, yeah, it's like, how do you get to the real truth in these kind of, you know, stories where it's like one person's word against the other person's word, which is honestly why like I don't do these kind of stories. I focus on give me documents with hard facts that I can leak, because without being a fly on the wall, it makes me feel uncomfortable to comment on some of this stuff because I don't know what's true and what's not, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about stuff dating back to 2005. That was the other thing I want to say took issue with, because it sounds like I had a problem with them like exposing a potential issue at the studio, but like we're talking about like 17 years ago, just people accounting shit 17 years ago. Like I just, you know, at a certain point, like I completely agree that it's like you need to show something like, you know, to know that it's persisted that long. But Brand, I want to kick it to you. How are you feeling about the game and what we read here on Polygon?
I mean, the game looks cool. If I hadn't played so many Lego games that I burned myself out in the franchise, I would consider getting it. As for, it was interesting because they released the gameplay thing and I watched it. I'm like, man, that's really good improvement. It looks really cool. And then like Polygon released the article and then like people suddenly were hyped for the game. We're like, wow, I don't know if I can be hyped for this game anymore with the crunch that the studio has. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know what they really think. I mean, I'll say like I'm definitely not going to play the game, and not because of the crunch, but because of I just don't really care for Lego games anymore. I played so many of them that I'm kind of like at my limit, you know.
Sure.
Like I think I did, because this is all 9 of them, right? All 9,
yeah, all 9 remade.
Because I'm pretty sure they've 6 of them have already been released, correct? Because I'm positive I played
7. They did Force Awakens.
So I did the first 6 then, because I didn't do Force Awakens. So I've already played essentially 2/3 of the game. So yeah, you know, it's just I don't know, the whole crunch with the industry is a very sensitive topic, and I don't really have I don't know really what I have to offer about it, because like I'm just a dude who just wakes up, makes a video about Xbox, plays some video games, eats some foods, watch some Netflix, and goes to bed again. I don't know what I could add to the discussion other than saying like it sounds like it was a bad place to work for a lot of people, which is pretty shitty. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on the front of the game, man, I loved what I saw. I'm much like you, Rand. I've played a lot of Lego games, and it depends on the IP for me. That's what would sort of like turn me on or off to it. Like I remember like Lego DC Villains was one I was really excited about, because it's like you get to finally play as villains. Like not enough games do that. Like I don't want to always be the hero. I want a story about the villains, and they were one of the first to do that. And then there were games like I think Lego DC, I think Beyond Gotham or something like that. It was,
Beyond Gotham.
That one was terrible. I thought the Avengers one was terrible. Like, so there are some that are good. There are some that are bad. So I've sort of hit or missed with a lot of them. When I saw the gameplay for this, I was really shocked. I thought how crazy good it looked. And part of me wasn't surprised when I read this whole story about Polygon as well, or from Polygon as well, because you know, when they said, oh, we're remaking every Lego Star Wars game and releasing them as one, I'm like, that's fucking 9 games, bro. Or really not. That's really 3 games, but still that's insane for one project. Like it had crunch written all over it from the get-go. So I wasn't too surprised. Not that it makes it better. I wasn't too surprised when I read about it, but I digress. Just wanted to spread some awareness on that.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. I had no idea none of this was going on.
That's what we're here for. All right, that's all our news for the week that we wanted to cover. Let's move into our Game Pass / Back and Pack pick of the week. We got a couple of write-ins here before I dish it to Cog for his pick. First off, Poot writes, Hey Dukes, quick shout out to Cog for his recommendation of The Forgotten City. I'm usually a skeptic of time loop mechanics in games, but it showed me how time loops can be done in a way that is rewarding. Maybe the best compliment I can give is that I found myself wanting to replay it after the ending I got. Salute to Cog, and I hope you both have a lose a football game when the other team doesn't score an offensive touchdown kind of day.
Yo, that's a nice shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Yeah, salute to him, man. Yeah, Forgotten City, I'm champion. And Maddie, thanks to you because you put me on, and then I think it was Grub that we had on also mentioned it. And
word of mouth, baby.
Champion in it, man. So it's good to see. Yeah.
Cody Richter writes, hey Dukes, I have to recommend Lawn Mowing Simulator as a Game Pass pick of the week. That's right. I meant to say that. When I went down to download Nobody Saves the World, the other day I saw this game in there and I had a little chuckle and figured, why the hell not? I'll download it. Boys, I'm here to tell you this game is a must try. It scratches some weird itch I didn't know I had. The premise of the game is simple. You build your own lawn mowing company. You name it, you choose a logo for it, then your work contracts until you can afford to hire a crew and amass a landscaping empire. I've never played a simulator game, but if there ever was a podcast game, this is it. I will definitely be listening to future DD episodes while slowly growing the latest and greatest lawn crew that is Rippin' Richter Mowing. Have a smells like fresh cut grass kind of day.
If you want.
I played Thief Simulator. Like I remember, Cog. There was an era of Duke where I was like pumping up the tires on Thief Simulator. So simulator games are good.
Jazz, are you chomping at the bit?
I actually tried Lawnmower Simulator because I heard it had really great grass physics, and I was like, I'm intrigued by these grass physics. And I was sitting there playing and thinking, man, this is more Rand's kind of speed. Very slow.
No. Not at all. I definitely would not play any of that. Nope.
No?
Simulator games are not for me. I tried playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. I only played it for like 2 hours. They just don't do it for me.
You lasted longer than me. I like city builders. That's like I like those kind of simulators, and also like Surviving the Aftermath, which is like a Fallout city builder, right?
Ooh,
where you like
there's an idea right there. Xbox, okay.
Do you have you not played that, Matty?
No.
After Surviving the Aftermath?
No, I'm a very stingy Fallout fan in the sense of like people have said to me for years, like, gotta play Stalker, bro. If you like Fallout, you gotta play Stalker. It's like, I don't want an alternative. I want Fallout. Like, I just want Fallout. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Sorry.
If you like city skylines, Surviving the Aftermath is basically Fallout City Skylines. you build a settlement in the apocalypse. And I don't know. I like those kind of games, but I haven't got that far in it, to be honest.
You haven't got that far to build Megaton.
It only just came out of early access last month, I think, or the month before. So
okay.
And, I always blow Megaton up though when I play.
I go back and forth. It depends what mood I'm in. All right, we got one more write-in from Sam Kingma, and then we'll dish it to Cog. Hey, Dukes. I wanted to nominate a game that's getting too overlooked for Game Pass Pick of the Week this week, Windjammers 2. Windjammers 2 is basically Super Saiyan air hockey, where you and your opponent toss a disc back and forth to get it to the other's goal. Dotemu spent 3 years perfectly replicating the original arcade game to a T, while adding in plenty of new additions that keep the game authentic yet fresh and exciting. Not to mention, it looks and sounds incredible. Very pick up and play, and great to play with friends or online against one another. In a world with half-assed ports and remakes, it's great to play a retro revival that actually cares about doing justice to the original arcade game. Don't sleep on this one. Have a naturally wake up a minute before the alarm goes off kind of day. I actually had that today, so that's kind of scary to read. So yeah, Windjammers is out there. Just came out.
Windjammers out.
All right, Cog, it's your turn now. You've waited long enough.
Yeah, man. Y'all know what it is. We had this developer on, and very, very insightful interview. And Graham Smith and Drinkbox, man, I gotta shout him out, man. Nobody Saves the World is hitting. It's hitting for me. I threw it on again. That classic Drinkbox charm, the humor. These are guys that make Guacamelee. But what I liked about it was first just getting into the dungeons and how the systems are worked. I thought that was really cool. And just I liked how from a menu standpoint, everything's kind of easy to understand. And like they'll tell you, hey, if you do these kind of actions, you can level this up and this will give you this. Or hey, as you gain more forms, because you kind of this androgynous character who is and basically transfer. You start like a mouse, and then you chomp power. You got this power, consume and poison enemies. Then you get like a knight and an archer, and it's all these different forms. They all got these different usages. But then as the game expands, you have to use certain forms that are better in certain situations. And I thought that was cool. Some of the best dungeon music going. That dungeon music be popping. I don't care. Whoever's on the music team. Get him a raise. Graham, you did your thing. That dungeon music is rocking. Little boss battles. And it got the RPG mechanics, yo. It really does. Cool RPG mechanics. Yo, check it out. It's on Game Pass. It's one of those games that you're like, all right, I'm going to play this for a little bit, see how I go. And then you're like, damn, the addiction start. And then I actually shout out to my boy Kaibatsu. We did it in co-op. A ton of fun. The only negative I got to say about co-op is kind of like, it's still kind of, even though you're playing in one person's game state, it's still, you're operating separately. So it's like your friend can pause the game and it's paused for you. And it's like you're seeing his, like, it's just weird, a little bit of weird. It's done well, but it's just, I'm not used to still playing almost like it's two separate entities. Even though so we have to kind of wait on each other. All right, dude, you're going to upgrade that. You're going to do this. Okay, cool. And then we're going to go work together. But it's a ton of fun, man. They really knocked it out the box. And again, if you haven't watched it, it is up free on YouTube right now. Last Stand Media, our Graham Smith Drinkbox interview. Tons of gems about Game Pass, about the indie game scene. Like he really kind of gave up a lot of tea and gems.
Yeah,
on how
he was
Xbox
like, I'm not sure what I could say because of NDAs, and then he just dropped a ton of stuff.
Like he really showed us how like Xbox has really helped out in the indie scene and really helped them get across the finish line. And then as well as, the things that we found out about, trying to get on Game Pass and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a must check out. So I got to shout him out, man. Great game. A lot of fun.
Right on. Okay, so those are our Game Pass pick of the weeks. Plenty for the audience to select from both our wonderful host Cognito, but also just a lot of audience write-ins. We appreciate everyone who wrote in, of course. Which brings us to, speaking of which, our final questions for the show. We always do 5 to wrap things up. So let's get it going with Nathan Sains, who writes in, good day, Magnificent Maddie and Calamity Cog, longtime Duke listener, first-time Patreon. I don't know if you had heard about Microsoft acquiring the indie dev Activision Blizzard, but it is so. With that, do you think Microsoft is done acquiring studios? What does this mean for potential acquisitions of IOI, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, WB Games, Crytek, etc.? They are still missing the fighter, the JRPG, the Just One, and more options for younger players. Hope you have the McFlurry machine is down at McDonald's kind of day. Shout out to Cog grabbing the Avengers Assemble endgame moment on ILP.
Salute.
All right, gents.
What do we think?
So start off with Rand. I want to hear from you, Rand. What is happening? Because you're the prediction king, yeah? What is Rand's prediction for what's going on with potential acquisitions with Xbox moving forward post-acquisition or post-Activision?
I think they're still going to acquire. They may be done acquiring a publisher, but there are some studios they're working with, like Interactive and Crystal Dynamics and stuff, that they could essentially, if they like the work, if enter an agreement and be acquired. For a long time, I was convinced that they would acquire Crystal Dynamics because of the Perfect Dark thing. But this Activision Blizzard deal kind of throws a monkey wrench into that, because this is going to take 18 months to kind of clear, or 12 months. And I don't think they're going to make an acquisition in that time, right? I don't think they will. They're just kind of go quiet. And the thing I'm worried about, not that I care if Sony would buy them, but simply because of who they would get, is I think Sony's essentially going to feel pressured into buying somebody. And I think you look at who they would purchase, it's like Capcom, but who just posts really strong financial reports just yesterday, and Square Enix, who they work with pretty closely. So if they were to buy Square Enix, you lose Crystal Dynamics. And
That is true.
I am
Very
kind
good
of
thought.
worried that might be the case, where within the next 18 months, Sony buys Square and they get Crystal. But I guess Xbox would be like, well, whatever, we got Activision Blizzard, so
Do you think, not to interrupt you, but yeah, it's such a good thought. Do you think that they honor Xbox's agreement with Crystal?
Like if next week
we would hope
They just
week,
kneecap
if
the
Sony-
fuck out of Perfect Dark, and they're like, yeah, we're taking Crystal with us. Fuck your game.
So if next week Sony buys them and then it goes through, instead of honoring the contractual agreements, they cancel the agreement, and now Xbox doesn't have anybody to make Perfect Dark.
Daryl
Could
Gallagher
you
come out and say
imagine that?
We would hope Sony would honor their contractual agreement.
Yeah, but I totally do think Xbox is going to buy more studios. They might be done buying a publisher, or at least a huge publisher, forever, but there's still other smaller studios that they can work towards. I think so. It's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
It's just this is probably it for the next 12 to 18 months, though.
Yeah, I would say so. Jez, what about you? What's the temperature on an acquisition by Xbox of any kind, studio, publisher, whatever, after the window closes with Activision?
I think they'd make a defensive play. Like if Tencent if like Tencent came up and they were like, we're gonna buy IO Interactive or whatever, and then IO Interactive went to Microsoft and like, Tencent's offering us this, I think Microsoft would step in and buy a company defensively, even if this is all playing out. Because I think Microsoft wants IO Interactive, and I think they want Crystal Dynamics, like Randa said. But publisher-wise, I don't think that they're going to see anything that can raise antitrust spook, the specter of antitrust rhetoric anytime this side of the deal closing. I'm sure after, once they've got Activision under their wing, they may look at a publisher again. Hopefully, I want them to buy a publisher in Japan and create an Xbox Japan organization out of that publisher, and just be like, Sega is now Xbox Japan, and then Sega is a development studio within Xbox Japan or something like that. I want to see them do something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that something like that would come after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, if indeed it does go through, which isn't certain, but I think...
Yeah, Jess was DMing me. He's worried the deal's not going to go through. We were talking
It's
about
possible.
it the other day.
It's possible to get shut down. Yeah.
It's just like, you know, you just can't be certain. I just think you can't be certain. I won't feel like it's a done deal until it is a done deal.
Yeah.
I'm a good 85-90% sure it'll get done. Because they're offering an amazing amount of value for shareholders. That's all US politicians care about, really, is money. They don't care about the competition implications. They just care about money. And that's what Microsoft's giving them, is a ton of money. So,
yeah, ton of money. The USA versus China could really lean into Microsoft's favor there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon and Jess said it perfectly. I can't add too much more. Yeah, I just think it's an expression in the street. The block is hot right now. So they don't need to be acquiring anybody else right now from a publisher standpoint. From a publisher the block is hot. The feds are watching. The feds are watching. The block's hot. Shut everything down. Make sure the deal goes through. Play nice. If you got to make concessions a little here, there, as Jess says, Microsoft's got the best lawyers in the world. They'll figure this thing out. You know, is there a potential possibility something could stay? Of course. But I think this will play out just how ZeniMax did. And if we remember, Maddie, during that time, they were quiet. Remember, we were like, remember 2021? We were like, what are they doing? Sony's acquiring them. Because the block was hot. Now I'm learning. The block was hot. They got to wait until things clear. Then you start re-ramping again. You know, I would love IO. You know how I feel about them as far as, you know, the stealth genre and you know, about our Hitman. That, you know, we love that kind of stuff. That's fire. Crystal Dynamics makes sense. We always talked about it with the Gallagher relationship. I personally, even though Avengers didn't do what Avengers did, I did feel a single player story was underrated. I feel graphically they got some beast. That game looks good, regardless of what they tried to do and looter shooter it and fake co-op it. But the game looks good. Like, and I want to see like those Tomb Raider, they to me are the hashtag just one studio. If you really look at them, like they have the potential that could do that third person cinematic kind of thing. And then the other thing, of course, Jazz, you never gonna say nothing to Sega down the road, you know what I'm saying? But I would never say no to that. But the other one, this just pipe dream. I do want Crytek for some reason. I need my Rise. I need my Rise. I need my greatest 900p game of all time. I need it. And say what you want. And Crytek engine, that Cry engine be looking good. I don't know how easy it is to develop for, but it looks good. It's a pretty looking engine. And when they did it, announced we got the Crisis thing going.
Yeah, Crisis 4. It's a thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, not kick the tires, man. Something. I mean, I wouldn't be mad, let's say, if they did it. But the priorities, IO for me, Crystal Dynamics. And I'm good.
If I'm Xbox, here's my concern. A lot of times we look at PlayStation getting the obvious target. Like I think Square Enix is a pretty clear one. PlayStation could have a pop culture lockdown if they got WB games. That has been a name that's floated around a lot. And I don't think they're necessarily on the market, but they're still floating around a lot. And I look at how PlayStation's got their fingers in Star Wars. They certainly got it in Marvel. And if you get WB and you get like Wonder Woman, Suicide
all those
Squad,
spandex guys just love.
You get the fighting studio in NetherRealm was making Injustice. Like suddenly that changes to me a whole landscape because you got every super relevant, popular IP under the sun on one generation. Like one console, one brand. I mean, that's what I wonder is like, does Xbox get defensive on a publisher standpoint like that? Where if I were them and I'm seeing Warner Bros. Games, get the offer, I'm like, if that's even how it would work, and they could have the opportunity to step in, I'd be like, oh shit, like we got to do something about that. Because
Rand loses his Batman games.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah, we talked though, Cog, a lot before this is pre-Activision about defensive purchases of something like Warner Bros. Because it's like Xbox has no fighters. Like they've talked about wanting to bring back Killer Instinct, just like they want to do a lot of things. It's like if NetherRealm's about to get ripped off the market and you're going to lose like the best third-party fighting game developer out there, that'll be. I don't think it'll be as much of a, I put in quotes, killing blow like a Call of Duty missing on PlayStation, which doesn't have first-person shooters, but it will hurt Xbox, and that already small market of fighting game fans on Xbox is gone, if there are even any there. That's something that I got to look out for, I think, because if I'm PlayStation, you do what's best for you, but if they're looking to hurt Xbox, I think Warner Bros. is the sneaky answer that not a lot of people are talking about. But for Xbox themselves, I think it's very possible they do make developer acquisitions within this 18-month window, we'll say, if it takes that long. But on a publisher front, I just don't think it's so hard to say nowadays, right? Because we didn't think Activision, that's impossible, right? Every take is now with a grain of salt since this pretty earth-shattering deal. But to me, I would imagine it's like you should be done, unless it's a Japanese outlet, you should be done with like Western publishers being absorbed, like including Ubisoft. But otherwise, like I could see them absorbing a developer over time. I don't think that's as like, if they do what they did at E3 2018, they come out and they're like, we got not one, but two, but three, but four. It's like then they're starting to catch the wrong eyes. But I think like one developer here and there, I don't know if that's necessarily gonna screw them over on any deals. But what I learned from Hogue is a lot of this depends on the mood of a regulator. So if he sees somebody's like, fuck them, like I'm stepping in, that's all it takes. So we'll see. All right, let's move on to our next write and hear from Lee Doherty. Can we talk about the Game Pass fatigue? It's a real first world problem, I know, but I just find myself constantly trying to keep up with Game Pass releases. I only play the games that speak to me, but it just seems like I never get to fully enjoy the games I'm playing as there's a new game added I want to play so soon after. So I find myself finishing far fewer games on Xbox compared to PlayStation or Switch, where I tend to buy games. Is there a way you deal with selecting which games to play and which to give up on? Does Game Pass as a model damage our appreciation of games sometimes? I love this question. Cog, want to hand it to you, man. How do you handle the Game Pass machine? And especially this month, I feel really defines what Game Pass can do. Like big day one game with Rainbow Six Extraction. Then you get the niche edition of Danganronpa. Then you get Hitman as a trilogy. You get Mass Effect as a trilogy, right? You get Nobody Saves the World, the big day one drop. There's everything there. So how do you deal with that amongst everything else that you're playing?
Yeah, it is something they have to look at. I think that for whatever they curate, I think there's one point that Colin made that I do have my eyebrow up, which is the devs that don't get in the Game Pass, right? Eventually, it's going to get to a point where the first party is going to start hitting, and they're really going to get these big titles. And yeah, you'll be able to fit some smaller titles here and there, but there's going to be some people that get left out, right? So I am curious about that, how that's going to work, for the smaller guy. And as far as the fatigue, I mean, the thing is, they just need variety. I think that's just what it is. It's the type of games that you have, so that you still hitting all these different people who like I said, a Danganronpa or a sports game or whatever. You still have to have that variety. It just can't be all, Dude Bro or AAA, Blockbuster, everything. You have to, and that's why the studio acquisition stuff kind of plays in hand, because you have to hit those weaknesses that you don't have. So I am monitoring it, you know what I mean? But I think we're still a ways away before we really get into, that cadence where we get to see that first party really start to dominate the months. And then, okay, I want to see how they handle that. How are the lists curated? How is the weekly or whatever, the monthly, outbreak or news post? How is that going to consist? What's that going to look like?
Chaz, how about you? Game Pass fatigue, real, fake? How do you handle it? Is Game Pass damaging the appreciation of games?
It's hard to say. I think the thing with any kind of disruption to the standard, the status quo, comes with pros and negatives. I think like the pro, obviously, with Game Pass is that it does create this level of access, this level of access that we've never had before. And we do have the opportunity to just play any games we feel like. I always looked at Hollow Knight, and I always looked at the R-State thing, and I always thought, man, I don't think this game's for me, because Game Pass, now I can like try it, and presumably they get some kind of royalty for engagement. And when it leaves Game Pass, I know for a fact that I'm going to buy it. I'm going to take advantage of that, discount and grab Hollow Knight to own, But on the flip side, it is kind of like, does it reduce the appreciation of games? And I think being a game journalist can actually have that effect anyway, because you get games for free. And I'm constantly trying to remind myself, like, how would I feel? Would I feel differently about this if I had spent $70 or $60 on it? Because, we're a tech site first, and we try to think about value for money a lot, maybe more so than game journalists do, and maybe more concerned with the art and the subjectivity of some of this stuff. We're thinking about, is this value for money? Does it, is it delivering on the promise a full price game should,
Right.
So it is definitely a different experience. Isn't necessarily worse. I don't know. Like, I would never have tried Lawnmower Simulator without Game Pass. It's not a game for me.
Point.
It's a game about cutting grass. I don't think
that doesn't speak to you.
It doesn't speak to me. No. I don't think buying that would have changed the way I feel about it. In fact, it may have even made me resent it a bit. I may have bought the game and thought, man, that was a waste of not only my money, but the time it took me to buy that game. It's funny because I just sparked a memory of when I was a little kid. And I think like something that happened at school, like I'd been picked on at school or something. And I come home and I was upset. My mom was picked me up in the car and stuff. And she was like, I'm gonna go to GameStop, or the UK equivalent, and buy you a game. She went to GameStop and she bought me Men in Black for the PlayStation 1. Not the best game in the world. I remember
she made a bad day worse.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I appreciate what she was trying to do here, but not for me. So at the weekend, I went and took that game and I traded it in. And I was like, can you recommend a game? Because I'm not really feeling this one. And the cashier was like, try this game. It's just gone on sale. It's like 40% off. Final Fantasy 7. And I was like,
Ah.
well, I was like, okay, I've never heard of this game, but I think I've seen an advert for it somewhere, so I'll try this game, and it absolutely blew me away.
Whew.
So,
I wasn't alive.
there is something to say about There is something about that old school 90s experience of getting a game, having a box, taking it home, standing in line at a launch. Like, I remember buying World of Warcraft expansions like that. I never queued up for any game except for World of Warcraft expansions. And like everyone would be there. And there's something really nice about that. And there is something lost when it comes to, I don't have a single physical game anymore. Not a single one.
Same,
like everything's digital now, and there is something you do trade something away for that convenience. A bit of your soul leaves your body.
Yes.
Let's getting philosophical about it.
No, you're cutting deep, Jez. I love it.
Yeah, but
Appreciate
maybe it's because I'm getting really tired now because it's 2:30 in the morning. Let me go.
We're good.
You're almost there. We're inching towards the finish here. Let's toss it to Rand real quick. Rand, Game Pass fatigue, do you experience it, man?
I mean, I do experience, it's not like Game Pass fatigue, but there are times where I get burnt out on gaming in general, right? Where you play so much and then you just kind of just don't want to play anything and you're just like, oh, whatever. I could understand somebody who is normally like, I only buy a couple games a year and I buy them and I play them and I enjoy myself. But then now I'm subscribed to Game Pass, and instead of only playing 3 games a year, now I'm inundated with 200 games I could play. Right? And then you start downloading all this stuff and you play something, but then you jump to something else and you jump to something else. And like you don't really finish something else. So I can understand how for some people maybe that's a bit overwhelming, and they would come to the conclusion that, wow, I'm not really getting my money's worth, or I tend to like enjoy the games I buy more because you're buying less, so it means more to you, right? I get that sentiment completely. But like for me, I view it like kind of like Netflix. Like there are hundreds of shows on Netflix. Like you go look and there's like 10 shows that come out every single week. But most weeks there isn't a show I'm interested in. Some weeks there might be one. It's about like trying to find the stuff that interests you and then watching that or playing that and finding something else. Like I'm not on Game Pass to try every single game. Like I'm not like Cognito. I'm not going to go play Danganronpa 2 or whatever it is, right?
Give it a chance, bro. Give it a chance.
I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Killer Teddy man, it's crazy.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm not playing that game.
All I'm saying is he's going to show up with a shirt. Just let everyone know.
I'm not playing Lawnmower Simulator or whatever. Like there are some games that I'm just not going to try. So, and when I do start a game, I like to finish it. But I can understand the fatigue where it's like there's so much. And this is why I think Xbox only markets Game Pass as 100 games. Because there's a psychological barrier that people have, right? Where it's like, if you say it's like 200 and more, people innately think it's too much. It's way too much. That's why they keep it at 100, because that seems manageable. Right?
It's still not.
Well, it's more manageable than what it is at this point,
Absolutely.
right? And so I get it. Like you look at this month at Game Pass, Extraction Day 1, Hitman Trilogy, which is 3 games of outstanding content, right? Nobody Saves the World. What a Mass Effect Andromeda, Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy,
We don't say that
like
word.
legendary, right? How like that's just for January. That doesn't even include all the games that released the last few months or the last year. There is like so much to choose from, and choice paralysis is a thing.
Yes.
Right? So I get it.
Yeah, I experience it myself. What's happened to me is I'm so gung-ho on trying shit that like I'm picking up a bunch of toys and then just dropping them right away is what's happening now. And I don't like that. I'm very stern in my Rand ways. I like to finish the games I pick up and play. And for me, I've been doing a lot of dabbling, and I was really pushing the art of the dabble last week, and I've not given up on that. But there is a little bit of like, when I dabble a little too hard, I've realized there's a limit to how far I can go, because then I feel like, well, I've started 8 different games. I actually kind of liked all these games. What do I want to put my time into now? And then that's a new level of choice paralysis. So you have to limit what you do dabble in, because at the end of the day, it's a hobby. You just want to enjoy it. For me, I largely, what I do is I create a priority. It's like, what have I paid for? That's priority 1. Game Pass is always secondary, because in my mind, it's like, you'll be there at least for a number of months. Maybe I'll get around to you, right? What have I paid for that I want to get my money's worth out of? That's where I go first. And of course, like in my specific situation, reviews take priority. Like right now, it's like Dying Light 2 is a priority above anything else that I've paid for or that is on Game Pass. So it's like an internal tier system. But I do think there's a conversation to be had on how people talk about games because of Game Pass, because Colin's said this, a number of times, like they're being viewed as content, which I do think is fair. But to me, it's more so that it's almost viewed as this lower tier of like, I should be on Game Pass. We shouldn't even be paying for it. And we were already having a lot of trouble talking about like the value of games, because originally it was quality of experience, like a super liminal. Like it's 3 hours, $20, but you get a really thought-provoking experience with unique gameplay. Or you spend 60 on a 6-hour Call of Duty campaign that you know what you're going to get. So it's like the conversation has always been, do you want to spend 20 and get 3 quality hours, or do you want to spend 60 and technically get more time for your money, but it's kind of mediocrity? And that's different from person to person, because I can say, like, when I was in high school, I really valued open world games, because for me it was about getting content, because I just needed something to play, because I didn't have a lot of money. So I wanted the maps with tons of collectibles and icons. That doesn't speak to me as much now. But I think a lot of the discussion and discourse in gaming has kind of been damaged, not really through Game Pass, but it's definitely played a part in it. Again, because I think with lowering the value of games, like, I'm guilty of it. Like, I don't think there's been a single, outside of MLB The Show, a day one Game Pass game that's been like rock solid amazing. Like, there hasn't. There's like a stigma almost to it. So for me personally, I do think that the Game Pass model can hurt some people's appreciation of the games, including my own. But then there's the help there, because Outriders was fucking awesome, and that was really a messed up game in a lot of ways, and I still had a lot of fun, and I think Game Pass was a big reason as to why. So there's no really right or wrong answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's how you consume it, I think.
All right.
Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you ended your thought.
No. That's pretty much it. I understand both you and Rand's perspective.
Okay. Well, we got 3 more questions here. Let's go through them before Fluffer Nutter over there passes out. Yes. Gothic Hello Kitty writes in, Sup Mulder and Scully. What do you guys think? What do you guys think would push Xbox to making a VR push? Whether that would be their own headset or just porting some titles over to VR. Also, what games from Xbox is... this second part of the question wasn't supposed to be here. Thanks, and have a I just wet the bed as a grown-ass adult kind of day. Okay, so Xbox making a VR push, gentlemen.
No.
No. Rand, you are assertive. Let's hear it from you. This is a prediction.
I mean, look, I think they've separated themselves and distanced themselves from VR in such a way that unless the future changes, like the only thing I could see them doing is doing a partnership with like Quest or something. Like, I don't think they're interested in making their own headset. I just feel that Xbox doing VR has essentially passed them by. And it's about, for I think Xbox has made the bet on subscription and streaming as the future, where other companies have made the bet that VR and metaverse stuff is the future. So no, I do not see VR and Xbox's future plans whatsoever.
Lead of Integrity Ops, you swinging a deal over here, you figuring out something for Xbox on VR.
You good.
Is he even allowed to talk about this?
I could mention that Xbox's desires. Look, I agree with Rand. I don't get any indication that they want to be in the consumer space. The vibe I get is strictly commercial. HoloLens, you hear rumblings about that. And all I will say as a Oculus employee is that, hey, Partnerships are nice sometimes. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. You know what I'm saying? That's the most I can say there. But as far as Xbox, I would rant. I think that ship has sailed. I never really think they. I mean, Phil outright said it, right? He was just like, that's not what. And to be honest, like, can we really be mad at it? Like, at the end of the day, they've had a games problem from the prior generation, and to me, the focus is there. And I think the bet for them is streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Their metaverse is games and cross-platform, type of ecosystem. That's their version of what they're considering, I believe, the metaverse. And yeah, I just think that's where they're at with this.
All right, Jazz, anything you want to add on when it comes to Microsoft and VR? Or really Xbox, I should say.
I think I can't see it. I can't see it. Like they've got a small VR team that sort of explores business applications. We've seen HoloLens land a $20 billion military contract. I don't know if they're still pursuing that or if it's fallen through or whatever, but there are like there's like 100,000 military HoloLens units with 4 cameras on it that I don't even know what they do really. Maybe it's classified or something. But I think that's where Microsoft sees VR and augmented reality is like, how can it work in a business context? I think for gaming, they're sort of taking a wait and see approach because they do have this technology in house and they could pivot fairly quickly into building their own headset. They partnered with Dell and HP before to make these basic things, and they do have a basic groundwork in place and APIs to build these kind of experiences like spatial anchors, some of the technology from Kinect, and screen space VR tracking without beacons and all that kind of gubbins. I don't know. So they could pivot hard if they really wanted to do it. They could pivot hard, but I think they're still trying to wait and see how badly Facebook's going to screw it up first. No offense, Carl. But I think they're still waiting to see if there's going to be anything left after Zuckerberg's hollowed it out or whatever, and made it cringe. Like this. They've got a long way to go. They've got a long way to go, man, to make it actually a thing. Because I think VR has a place in the industry, much like flight simulator equipment has a place and your racing wheels have a place. It's a different experience. It's never going to be the core experience because VR is an investment. It's an energy investment. When I put on a VR headset, it's not relaxing at all, ever. It's never relaxing.
More engaging.
It requires me to burn calories. I hate that. I hate burning calories. I've lost 100 pounds, but I've done so without a single shred of exercise. Damn it! But they also want you to wear a thing on your face. That's unnatural. I don't want to wear a thing on my face. I don't even like wearing these. I'm supposed to wear glasses and I hate it. You want me to wear something that's 400% heavier than these or more? I'm no good at math. It's heavy. I don't want to wear it on my face. And it hurts. You strap it on. Don't want to wear it. However, I will play Beat Saber in brief bursts of 30 to 60 minutes. Pretty cool. But I'm never going to wear it longer than 30 to 60 minutes because it's an effort. It's a hard effort. And whereas with Xbox, I can sit there and happily play it for 12 hours, no problem. Because it's fun and relaxing. Now, Dark Souls is so much more relaxing than any VR game because of how
Dark Souls is
fatiguing it
stress.
No. Wearing a thing on your face is stress. Dark Souls is chill. So,
You old. It's for the kids.
I don't know.
I'm playing, man.
It also makes me feel sick.
Yes.
When they're gonna solve that part?
Yeah, that's true.
The vomiting issue. I don't know. It's interesting tech, and I think it will have its place. But I honestly see Microsoft reviving Kinect before they try and make a VR headset. Personally, which is also
revive the one thing that almost destroyed the company.
Yeah. But it was forced. If it was not forced, I think it's pretty cool. Personally,
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, gentlemen. No, I'm not feeling Xbox in VR. I don't think it happens. What I am feeling is what Steve Forgioni's talking about. Hey, Dukes, do you think Xbox will be able to work with prior Activision partners on relisting licensed titles from Marvel and Hasbro? With Microsoft's push for game preservation, it would be nice to have titles like Spider-Man Web of Shadows and Transformers War for Cybertron not only available once again, but potentially on Game Pass and enhanced for Series X. It would definitely beat the hell out of forking over $100+ to people on eBay/Mercari taking advantage of the No Way Home hype, which I can personally attest to. Let me know how you could potentially see this playing out. Thanks, and have a stepping in a puddle while wearing socks kind of day. Yeah, so let me just provide some background info here. He mentions Web of Shadows. This used to be like a $50 game. It's now like a $100 game. Like everything from Star Wars or Spider-Man related since No Way Home has just skyrocketed in value. And it's because there's no digital alternative. Even like Amazing Spider-Man 2 on Xbox One is a very expensive game now. It's just,
and that is a very bad game.
It is a very, very bad game. I got the platinum for it. I put the certification there.
I have the 1,000 for it. It's a horrible game.
Terrible. Okay, so Brand, bro, I could give you a hug right now. Someone finally gets the struggle of 100%ing that horrible game. Holy shit. Okay.
I feel your pain, Maddie.
Thank you. Oh my God. Dude,
and you want to know something? I think I played that. Wasn't it also a 360 game too?
It was, yeah.
I played it twice.
Oh no, that was when you were going for $1 million, yeah? It had to be.
Yeah. Had to.
Yeah. Business as usual. Anyway, gents, we know Xbox has reportedly ran out of methods to do back compat and FPS boost. I'm of the mindset, and this is just pure galaxy braining here. I'm of the mindset that a little bit of conspiracy theory, they figure something out come this Activision deal closing up. If it does, they're like, oh wow, look at this, look what we got here, and suddenly like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 are back. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they figure something out here. Am I crazy for this, Cog? I want to start with you, man.
Hey Jason.
Jason.
Hey Jason. Hey Jason. Hey, the great Wizard of X. Work's not done. No. Work's not done. That's just my opinion. You make this type of acquisition. I mean, you know, you gotta continue these legacy IP, even if you don't have the studios to work on the new stuff, right? Or reimagine some of the new stuff. Like the slam dunk is just whatever you got to do with licensing or back compat or FPS boost or something internally. And now that you own them, the permission and the tug of war of the politics involved should be less. Right? In theory, that's what it seems easy to me. I don't know what else I'm missing, but yeah, like you have to, if possible, provided licensing deals have not, music deals have not, or are just very difficult. But again, they surprised me with the 50 Cent thing because I'm like, yo, that's music. How are they even going to do it? And then they made it a digital, a disc only thing. So if you had the disc, you can't get you can't download a digital version of Blood and Sand, but if you have the disc, it works. Then look, the price on eBay, everybody's going crazy. That creates a new market. So yeah, I think it's not over. I'm curious to see what Jez and Ram feel about that.
Jez,
I'm going to take the opposite approach. I'm going to say it's over.
Ooh, killing blows.
I'm going to say there's nothing of that big of value in the back catalog that isn't already back compat that they would go and do. Like Spider-Man Webs of Shadows, is that really worth? I mean, that's a good. No, I say that's a good game, but there's probably a reason that it's already not back compat. And I don't think Microsoft owning Activision Blizzard suddenly was like, okay, the license is ours or whatever. Like, honestly, when they talk about new and old games coming to Game Pass, it's probably just going to be like, hey guys, guess what? Every single Call of Duty on the Xbox One is now back in Game Pass or any of that stuff. Or I just don't see them going. I just don't see them restarting the program for this. Personally, just because I think the licensing are so out there that I don't think they're going to want to go tracks test. I don't know. I could be completely off base here, but my gut tells me that they won't go to extreme lengths to get the Transformers games, to get the Spider-Man games. I don't know, bro. I just kind of feel like that's the case. I don't know. Like it wouldn't be worth it to them, essentially. I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I don't know. Wrong. I just feel that. I'm wrong quite a bit. Jez, what are you feeling here? You think they're gonna like, hey, guess what? Like we got Transformers, and now we're just gonna relicense it to just have it in back and pad or whatever. Like,
I don't think they'll do the license stuff. I think they might look at things like not Sekiro, Singularity. I think they might look at some of that stuff maybe to see if there's anything that would stop Singularity being put backwards compatible. I think they'll definitely look at it. I think they really will, because for some stuff it's potentially trivial. But for stuff like Transformers, you got Hasbro involved, and for Marvel, you got to get Disney involved, blah 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 blah. You know, maybe some of that stuff they're very eager to do, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. You know, Activision were lazy, or Robert was too busy sipping champagne on his yacht, or doing lines or something.
Yo,
but I think they'll look at it. But I don't think you can hope for the Transformer stuff, you know, as much as I like Optimus and Starscream, man. It's all about Starscream.
What's interesting is that they did like a remaster. I remember when it first came out, like the port on PC for Ultimate Alliance was so terrible, but they did remaster it. And so I think you can get Ultimate Alliance back, right, Cog? I'm feeling that's what can happen. I gotta feel bad for you, man. I don't know. Like Transformer seems like the one that you got to do the big legwork for. Like I'm a believer. Like I'll just say I'm a believer. Like I'm of the mindset like Xbox has to put their money where their mouth is. Like you gotta get these games back, right? There's a lot of legacy here in Activision, and they've done the good job of revitalizing some of it. So you don't got to get all the old Crash games. Like you can just bring the Insane trilogy along for the ride. Like we're good there, right? But like stuff like Transformers, I think if you figure something out, go for it. Get Hasbro involved. Who knows? Now you got a new partnership developing there. What's to say that we don't get a new Transformers game, right, Cog? Like, I feel it's something worth exploring.
I can keep hope alive. I mean, Rand just made good points. I do understand the point of bandwidth and bringing, winding that team down, which they did say. But I get it. Just with an acquisition like this, it's hope. I know it's hope. I know. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can look for at this point. We'll see.
We will indeed see. Let's get to our last question of the show from Benji Pop. Howdy, Dukes. Long-time listener, first-time writer. We know Xbox has gotten plenty of flack in the past for offering third-party timed exclusives. But if they started introducing third-party timed Game Pass exclusives, where you could only play if you are subscribed on the platform that offers Game Pass. It's an interesting idea and seems like a potential next step to leverage the service. Thanks, y'all. Love the show. And you scored a touchdown to give you the lead with 13 seconds left and still lost the game kind of day. So, I'll start with you, Ryan. Game Pass exclusives. Is this something that we ever see getting churned out of Xbox at some point? I think this is down the line, but I want to know what you think.
I think they kind of said no before, but we did see Game Pass exclusive launch. The Space Jam game, that free-to-play Space Jam game, did launch in Game Pass first for like 2 weeks. Before anybody else could play it. I could see scenarios like that. And the game I'm thinking of that could essentially be free and maybe only like the first month available in Game Pass is something like, and then after that, like available like to anybody is like the 1 versus 100 stuff that Jeff Grubb talked about. Ooh. Right? I don't know, like I don't really see them doing like this game is only available in Game Pass unless we're talking like 5 years from now and they have like 60 million subs or whatever. It just kind of like at most they would do is like it's exclusive. The only place you could play it here is, like I said, for like 2 weeks and then it's available. And I think they would only do it for free games. I think with anything with a price, they wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could totally see 1 versus 100 being like exclusive to Game Pass for like a certain amount of time or something.
Nintendo did that with Tetris, right? Did you?
Yeah, they've done like even the Mario Brothers, right? That Mario Brothers 99 or whatever it was. Wasn't those exclusive to the online service? I think
they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tetris wasn't it? What was it called? Tetris Battle Royale. That was sweet on Nintendo Online.
I think it's still a thing. 'Cause I remember like one of the patrons of both Last Stand and myself is like a certified Tetris dork, like, you know, Tetris 99 Battle Royale specialist. So I think it's still a thing. But yeah, I feel like this is something that's deep down the road. The Cog, how are you feeling about this? Like Game Pass exclusives?
Yeah, I think overall, I don't think the majority of the direction will go that way, but I do think, like when Rand mentions like a 100, like I think there could be some outliers, some special case, unique online platform. Like I do think like I'll be honest, like let's talk Activision, right? So who knows what happened with Candy Crush on some level, and if I could see them playing around and dipping their toe with it, but I don't know if they're gonna go all out with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a line of it, but who knows down the road when the subscription base does get higher. For now, I'm gonna say no. I think there will be just a few outliers here and there that are these kind of online only kind of specialty games. That's what I'm going with.
Jez, how about yourself?
Sorry, can you?
Yeah, no problem. It is Game Pass exclusives.
That?
Game Pass exclusives. Do you think that they come to the service or not, or rather, do they happen?
I think Rand. I agree with Rand about like stuff like 1 versus 100 or some sort of like, party-ish kind of smaller games could launch in the Game Pass as experiments and stuff. But I don't think we'll ever see things like, Hive Busters DLC exclusive, because the retail portion of the business is still so important. I think some of these free-to-play games, like these free-to-play experiences, I think we'll see Microsoft experiment over the years with this. But I can't see we're going to get to a point where it's like Netflix kind of, exclusive or whatever. I don't think we'll get to that point, but could be wrong. I'm not like Rand. Clairvoyant Rand our clairvoyant. I have to analyze and guess. Rand's just like out here being psychic, using his powers and shit.
Using his powers.
Well, yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Jen. So with that, that's everything we've got for this episode. I want to thank both of the Xbox 2 boys for joining us on if I could speak, holy crap, I'm falling apart here as well. I want to thank the two Xbox 2 boys for joining us on this wonderful ride of an episode called Defining Duke, episode 56. You guys have been absolutely masterful, so thank you so much for lending some of your time today. Appreciate you.
Big time,
yeah, thanks for having us on.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And, of course, I think most people know who listen, but Rand, where can they find you? Jez, where can they find you? Let's start with you, Rand.
Yeah, you can find me youtube.com/RandallThor19, where I make, videos about Xbox. And Jez, we do the Xbox 2 podcast usually every Friday, maybe Sunday, maybe Saturdays, depending on scheduling. Usually 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't checked out the channel or the podcast, we would greatly appreciate and hope maybe you might like it, you might not, but if you check it out, that'd be wonderful.
And Jez, how about yourself?
You can find me at the Xbox 2, like Rand said. We actually have a website, Rand. Did you forget that?
We do. Wow.
What is it?
Plug.
The Xbox2.com. I have to remind myself. I couldn't remember if it was .net or .com, but it is .com. The Xbox2.com. Do we have the .net as well? I think we might do.
It is.
Let me just check
.com. I'm there. I'm there.
The Xbox2. Oh yeah, we don't know that. But anyway, yeah, you could, and also on Twitter at Jez Corden, JZCORDEN, and at windowscentral.com/gaming if you want to avoid all the Microsofty kind of stuff. But thanks for having us on, man.
Of course.
I always really enjoyed Defining Duke, even though you maybe stay up till 3 a.m.
That's kind of
You're gonna screw up his sleeping schedule.
Yeah, the sleeping schedule we talked about.
Yep.
I could have probably had it fixed today, but no.
Now here's the thing. What we're doing is we're working you back a little bit. You're so tired, Jez. You're gonna go hit the pillow. It's over, and you're gonna thank us for that. That's what's gonna happen. So you're welcome in advance.
We'll see, man.
Cog, as always, it's a pleasure to podcast with you, man. What's the hashtag we're picking for this week? Fluffer Nutter?
Yo, We are not doing fluffing. Matter of fact, let Red pick it. Red's reasonable.
I mean, I kind of like the fluffer nutter. You know what I'm
I
saying?
thought that was like I was a
That's
little
a good
stunned
one.
that Cog rejected that. So
I
sure,
know Jez gonna pick it.
Jess, you
Yeah,
like
I'm all about
fluffer?
that fluffy nutter.
Or you could
Yep.
do
That's
hashtag
it, fluffy nutter.
Phil's nice or Phil's a nice guy or
Yeah,
something.
that's a good one.
Or something
That
like
was
that.
funny too.
Phil's a nice guy. But no,
I
I Fluffer Nutter gets my vote. Sorry.
I've been outvoted.
Sorry, Cog.
It's a 3.
Sorry,
Yeah,
bro. I brought the
voted off
question
the
to you, and
island.
then you got overruled immediately.
Now we got to roll with the guests, man. They've been rocking now. Salute to Xbox too, man. He's a good friends, and you know, there's few people I interact with outside of you, Maddie, and these two are solid gents, solid individuals, good people to talk with, and it's always great to support them and that they support us. And yeah, man, much success to the Xbox 2. Just Corden, Rand out Thor 19, the man with the million, and it's always good to have him in the realm of the Dukes. And finally, we got the Avengers
We
episode.
did. We absolutely did. It's long overdue.
all of us together.
You know what I'm disappointed about? That Maddie
you
didn't
disappointed?
introduce you as Hollywood Cog.
Yeah, I don't really know the backstory around it.
Yeah, that's Rand thing that we don't want to spread, so we're gonna keep that moving. No, good stuff, man. A lot of stuff going on in this gaming community. Good to see content creators like us being able to do a show together. So that's always
Right
fun.
on. If you all got this deep and you want to let us know, the handles are at G27 status, at Lord Cognito, at Jez Corden, at Randall Thor 19. You can find all of us on Twitter. Use the hashtag FlufferNutter. Let us know that you finished this episode. Give us some thoughts. Give us some follows, all that good stuff. We just want to interact with you. If Twitter's not your thing, we respect that. We understand that. Patreon comments work. YouTube comments work. Just put the hashtag FlufferNutter. We'll know you got to the end. And with that, take great care of yourselves. We'll see all of you next time for episode 57 of Defining Duke. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.